Hello, everybody. I'm about ready to get started. Thank you for the lurk, Starlight. Let's chat a little bit. So we'll see who's around. But since it is Rare Enemy Week, I figured we could probably dive into Episode 4 pretty hard, whether it's Heaven Strikers, Excaliburs, most likely CF4 if we got enough people. Otherwise, if we just have 3 people, we might start off with a few Episode 4 boss runs, but with Orange ID. I do think Orange has some pretty good drop value overall, so it's only enhanced if we can end up with Condryu, since that ends up with Lame to Argent. I figured that's not a bad alternative since we were going for some of those via Dorphon anyway. That's also an easier quest to do with potentially various leveled people. Yeah, I know I wouldn't mind getting a hit percentage kunai after talking about it yesterday. And even things like Ophiel Seas from Orisa AA is worth quite a bit in the underground, which is kind of nice. Sadly, Dorphon Eclair only gives Blue Adoshi Violet Nima down. But it is what it is when it comes to that. Anyway, let's figure out who's here, and let's hop into PSO. So ideally, we'll end up with Condryu, but we'll see what happens. To switch IDs. I just wanted to check the forecast. Wow. Rangers. Okay, so it's not too bad. Okay. I think it was Character Bank 2. That's what I want. Well, welcome, Chris. Hope you're doing well. I had a new follow. Must have been literally just before I started. Thank you, Il Astaroth, for the follow. 2 in the morning, it's still so hot here. Sorry to hear, Kurt. Hopefully it cooled out a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and make the game in multiplayer. I'm assuming at least a couple people are here. Let's sit up here. I think I need at least 1 adept. I don't need, like, double adept is nice, but I honestly, I just need, like, 1 per character. And I don't even technically need them on the Mother Guard characters at all, which is nice. I have exactly what I need in the share bank there. One second, my audio is being a bit weird. On my side, I think the stream recording's fine. There we go. Presumably chat still hears both the game and the music now. I feel like my headset has been a bit more temperamental lately for some reason. I can hear it. I can hear the sound when I open the menu. Hopefully the chat does. Sort of inventory out a little bit. Okay. We'll wait a little bit, see who else is here. I don't think I put my magical piece back in the bank, which is a bit unfortunate. Like for 40 minutes this morning, I got 2 13s from the Lily Route mech. Oh. Were you hunting for something in particular in Parameter? I mean, if it was 13s, that's good news. Yeah, I was talking with Chris earlier. I think it's Maximum Attack version 2 is the Tyrell's, we'll call it drug trip. when you leave the temple, led to some interesting things. I actually managed to get a decent number of items here. I don't know where my frozen shooter went. The 0 hit. It went on somebody. Potentially never to be seen again. Okay, did I at least put the Convoy merge back? Might have to go find it. I don't think I did. Left it on, I think, my yellow ID character. What I'm gonna do, since this will take a while unless I do this, let's give the team a little more time. I'm gonna go remove those items since I do want them. It's important for the Faux New World to have as many stacks as possible. Because she doesn't naturally have those bonuses. So if I don't do that, I'm gonna be doing like almost... I mean, well, even worse than half damage, to be honest. So it's like, I kind of need to go pick those up. I'm pretty sure it's on Boydana. I only played so many forces the other night. We'll give people another minute or so to rejoin. I'm pretty sure he had both, because I remember using them. I'll just remake the game. I don't mind just removing one of his adepts. As I said before, I only really... Like, I want him to permanently keep one in case I forget. Ideally, I just want one per force, and then I don't need to worry about them anymore. Okay, let's go ahead and make a episode 4 game again. Yeah, I don't really remember, quote-unquote, what the Lily route is. I remember it, I know it's referenced when you look it up, but I don't think I've ever run it before. Give you a minute to log in, no worries, we're just remaking the game now. It is still currently even beat, so you get a little bit of Pew Pew Laser. If that changes Chris's mind, who he wants to play. You got like one quest worth of Pew Pew Laser. Figured I'd be fair about it there. You go grab those items, and then I'll be good to go. I'm gonna use that kunai so bad, but I haven't been doing any Yukasil Desert lately. Wait, is this the character that has the red sabers in their bank, or am I thinking of Dumpling? Okay, no, it is this character that has it in the bank. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade a little bit here. I'll keep the fire staff in there still because of the fact that I do want to shoot regular fireball for boosted damage. Having Congeal Cloak is not bad. There we go. I figured Chris would enjoy some Pew Pew Laser time. Once Parameter is here, we'll move on. Anybody else is welcome to join us. We got a free slot. So we're starting off with some warm-ups of Orange Episode 4. But if we end up with 4 people, we'll end up doing, probably Christmas Fiasco after this. The 6-minute run with 35 lows is incredibly easy to clear with force. Is this, yeah, is this it before? I never really played around that quest because I know there's a lot of weird maze rooms. It's one of those things where I just kind of picked a direction. It's not bad though, from what I remember. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. Route is on the Obloli page. Oh, interesting. Yeah, as I said before, in different sessions, when I started experimenting a lot more, since I've had the account for a while, the wiki wasn't really a thing. The wiki was... when did the wiki get created? Like 3.5 years ago now? I feel like there were large swaths of it that were in the forums. So, like, for example, around the time of, like, the first year and second year of the server, I don't remember the wiki existing then. Somewhere between the 3rd and 4th anniversary, I want to say they started really adding to it. And I know a long time ago I added to it, but it has been years since I touched the wiki to update it. I'm sure if you check the changelog, my other account is in there. Although I'm kind of curious if I change the account name, if it changes it on the wiki changelog. I'm assuming it does, but maybe not. I wasn't sure how the account thing worked. Plus, they switched it over, I want to say 2.5 years ago to something else. It's just kind of one of those things. I'm glad that they're adding more information to it. I do think it's always worth kind of re-exploring the idea of like what section IDs are quote-unquote worth running. And I do feel like eventually we're going to complete the section ID guide where we really sit there and analyze things. And I think we got all the, we'll call them the preambles out of the way, talking about, you know, the concept of like the power 6, what are the strongest items in PSO that people will hunt, talking about like relative trade values and things like that. And I think we've done like separate videos, even prior to that have been out on YouTube to just go over things like, you know, if you have a couple PDs and you're a fresh player and you want to start trading in order to get some power, you know, order of priority, what kind of things should you go for? Because I think a lot of players just don't know, unless they're more experienced, whether or not they want to, you know, they'll take a look at something like a V101 and go like, oh, I want to get that, it's so great, but it's like 18 PDs, etc, etc. But meanwhile, you know, they're sitting there without a basic mag. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the song since it is lyrics. 1 second. Let's switch to Revolve 8 soundtrack. But they'll sit there and they'll go for like quote unquote like the best of the best, but not realize like by just having a heavenly battle for 1 PD, you suddenly free up yourself to get like potentially a mag if you're not going to raise it. You know, you get all your materials, you get like basic Cannon Rouge, Heaven Striker. We were talking about before, like, you know, I've seen those kinds of things, and it's not even like a hypothetical. That has happened on stream where people are just stating, you know, I bought X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, oh no, you did this before you got any of the stats? Or like, I've seen people, for example, get things like a Hell Needle before they have a V unit, and I'm like, oof. You know what I mean? And that's before they have even just basics like Cannon Rouge. So hopefully, you know, when we talk about these things on stream, if we happen to catch people, especially now that we're in the middle of the event, regardless of the time of day, if they hear that, they can kind of go, oh, I was thinking about that, what should I do instead, kind of things. And I definitely welcome those questions, and I like just having like those open discussions on it. Like I would say, you know, my gameplay is fine, but I like being able to interact with the community. Welcome section, Skyly. Hope you're doing well. Any good drops for the Christmas event yet? That's a good question. I would say overall we're just kind of... I would say kind of slightly above average overall. Like present-wise, I ended up getting Magical Heart Key, which was nice. That saves some 50 PDs. We ended up striking it, not gonna say rich, but at least decent, with 20 hit Heaven Striker. Sadly, didn't make any banners or anything. They got like a bunch of items potentially for new players, you know, like low-end frozen shooters and Cannon Rouges and stuff like that. Hopefully for people that are joining in, you know, help get them a little power boost as they play. Also, I should have been stacking. I'm being silly today. Full stack mode engage. Otherwise, I don't know. We haven't seen anything too crazy. I mean, I would say towards the start of the event when it was Rare Item Week, we did help players get, I think it was 2 red rings and a Parasitic Gene Flow. Like, not bad overall. You know, I'm happy to get players closer to completion. I personally don't get excited about hitting level 200, but I like being able to free up my slots. That I like. Oops, and then some of the other one. Need to be like one step further forward. I guess that worked out though. Close. I was contemplating if I wanted to swap back into the Fire Scepter, but I'm like, Hope you're doing well, Section Skyly. I'm slowly waking up over here. I'm like, one day I'll remember the run that I do a lot. Get better with positions. Let's go to full stack mode. Gotta get those frame perfect casts. This will help me with my timing. There we go. Yeah, I like using the Konvoy as like the visual cue when to hit the Astark. Where it's like, I'm not quite looking for frame perfect hits, since that'll cause like the Astark to become unhittable. But if I wait at least to see the fireball damage and then cast, that usually avoids that issue. "75% hit caliber from a present." Wow, congratulations. That's pretty huge. I'm glad you're helping new players as well. I was gonna say, I think I recall somebody mentioning you before, so I'm assuming you do a lot of PSO videos or things like that. I don't usually look up a lot of PSO content, I'm just kind of on my own. And I do recall somebody mentioning your name before. Get rid of these. I'm glad the event overall has been treating you well. Yeah, I do videos for Phantasy Star in general, but mainly PSO, played since GameCube. Sounds like a good time. I'll have to check out videos at some point. I think for the most part, it's like, the way I kind of learn PSO is, I either play with people that are more experienced, or I experiment when I'm bored. So that has led to some interesting discoveries. Like, would I have figured out the Morphos trick on my own, where you don't face them, and then they don't shoot at you? Probably not. Did I find really stupid tricks you could do to save time in other runs? Occasionally. But it's one of those things where I think PSO is just always a learning process. I think it's always interesting when I look at, let's say, somebody posts like a time attack video, where that level of gameplay is so different than I'm used to. I always find that an interesting spectacle, but I would say unrealistic for me to attain at the moment. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember who told me about it. I feel bad. I want to give credit where credit is due. I did not figure that out. But like, the whole thing where you can glitch Dragon to kill it by just stacking enough damage when it transitions phases, like, that's one of the things we still use to this day. Like, I just was like, oh, with the HP reader. I'm like, that's weird. I like instant killing Dragon, it's funny. Anyway, I should probably respectfully move over here and stop casting a Bowie. There we go. I did it. Fine, I'll use Bardo. Oh, I was wondering why the thing wasn't taking damage. I'll stack the Foey in case they hit me. They might reset me. Or they'll charge into me. That's unfortunate. It's open more for stomps, but I guess that works. Yeah, like we were having a conversation the other night with Techium, for example. I think the most interesting thing is, like, when people come on the stream and they're asking about, like, how to do episode 4. Like, obviously I have it easy, I'm playing as the Force at the moment. But I think it's always interesting to explore, like, what classes do I like to play other than Force in episode 4, or why I think other classes are actually quite fun in episode 4. I do think people... Oh. Hello, Phone New Rules Defense. That woke me up slightly. It's like, hello. Hello, 345. I can help with this wave a little bit, but I should really just keep Kapoi stacking. It's just kind of one of those things where it's very interesting to see, like, the perception of difficulty. And it really just depends on how many nonsensical tricks do you know. Welcome. I was gonna say Durathan. Hopefully I said that correctly. Nice to see you. YouTube was what got me back into PSO last year. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you're enjoying some PSO. It's like there's some tricks that I think people kind of, you know, if they play the character class, they generally figure out over time. Like, if they're playing alone, for example, infuse traps on the satellite lizards and the equivalency thereof cause them to always face each other, so it's easy to just have them in like groups of 3 or 4 for Excalibur and stuff like that. Like there's stuff like that where I think people, especially as they transition from very hard mode and ultimate, aren't really used to using the traps to the full extent. And to be fair, some of that is just kind of the weirdness of like trap proximity and timings between the difficulties. But learning how to do things like slime duping is really cool. It was one of those things where I was sitting there on stream and I'm like, what is happening? Why is this causing this to do? But it took me forever to figure that out. Because we were just doing some casual TTF and messing around and we're like, well, suddenly we just have all these slimes, but all I used was fire trap. What happened? Or we'll do, I put a fire trap in a room and suddenly every slime died instantly. What happened? Just like puzzling through it was fun to do on my own. I'm sure if you go back in the VODs, you'll I think it was like, what was it, maybe 3 years ago? I remember going like, what was that? what just happened? I've never seen that before. Oh, I'm getting bullied by Goron Detonator. Leave me alone. I will slightly help with this wave because I prefer not to die here, but I do need to Kapoi stack for the Marissas. That's good enough. You know, you're really pushing me into a weird position. I don't like this. Yeah. I guess this will work. As long as I'm not directly in front of the Marissa, I'm okay with that. But I'm still a little closer than I'd like to be to the right side of the room, since I really don't want to get slapped by that Goron Detonator. Kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I think every year we just try to do a little bit of progress. Like, last year was getting our first set of challenge mode weapons on Ephinea. This year, probably Sphering. So just a little bit of an improvement over time. Like, I didn't even use the quick menu or do any of these things, because I didn't have, like, a sophisticated setup before. But now that I have, like, 0 to 9 mapped, and they have those quality of lives, where if you hit control, and you have Mag Blast, you're not locked out of the bottom row. Remember that? Every now and again, the 20-year-old game surprises you with something you've never seen before. Exactly. I feel like I'm always learning something. There's always some new PSO jag. I remember somebody came on stream and blew my mind with Volt Up. Where it was like, wait, what do you mean it takes damage based off of ATP? What does that mean? But I'm using spells. There's just some things that just... you happen to observe and you catch it and then you exploit, or it's just like, what is this nonsense? What witchery is this? Exactly, like the Kazan glitch. Cross Scar, boo. Should be PDs. Yeah, stuff like that, where, you know, people are using the equivalency of Twin Blaze, or ramping up machine percentage on Red Handgun in order just to do more damage on those kinds of phases. Like, sometimes it makes sense. You're like, oh, you know, you're striking the monitor, you want to do more damage. But then you see, like, spellcasting, or the Fireball from Twin Blaze doing damage. Very dumb, but very funny. Also, I don't need to stack here. It's just going to be Zeus after this. Let me just speed this up slightly. Oh, he's not close enough to retard him. Disregard. Still don't think I need to do anything special here. Get a couple stacks going. Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like, you know, sometimes you figure it out, sometimes you just observe. I think my favorite thing was Another example of just like absolute jank and exploiting weirdness. Like when you fight Ogaflow, and Ogaflow is off screen at the beginning of the fight. Like when I get really bored early on trying to figure out the boss, and I'm thinking, you know, when I first play it, it's like, oh, the boss is off screen. Surely I can't hit this boss. And then it's like, then you start experimenting with different characters, and you're like, why does Heaven Striker hit this boss? And then you're like, wait, you can Zalor with Ramarl and it hits that? And then you play Humar and you're like, wait, Humar can't hit that? Man, please buff Humar. Just like things like that. You just kind of go through and you're like, oh, that works, or oh, that doesn't work. It's always kind of funny. I think it does help that, you know, depending on the day, we at least experiment a little bit more. I didn't even know that. Oh, I'm teaching somebody about PSO? Look at that. Oh yeah, it's really funny. We do that on stream with the auto aim for Heaven Striker. It shoots it like dead vertical. It's hilarious. You can hit the boss before it's even visible. It saves a lot of time. The worst thing you could do is triple auto aim into your regular Vulcans or whatever, and you lose no time. You only gain time. It's just like if you get a hit, you get a hit. Or if you Zalor them off screen, it's hilarious. That also saves time. Yeah, it's just stuff like that where, you know, you experiment, and I like to experiment in games, so it's like I'll come across some stuff, but there's some mechanics in this game where I'm like, okay, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't even know how people found this. They must have been more bored than I am. We're very gifted in that department. I'm not sure. Some combination thereof. Oh, I'm slightly out of position. I'm so sad. I don't have a visual cue for this room, by the way. If you stand a little further forward than I am, it stops the Rappies from running away. Now it doesn't really matter. It's unfortunate. I need to learn if there's a way I can look at the minimap, and if it's like almost dead center, but not quite. It's like right here, I think is the perfect spot. And the reason being, like, for example, if I stand right here and we go through the different ways, Pyro Goron will be in, like, that way, facing up, and won't hit me. And similarly, if I didn't get hit there, which is more likely when we have more party members, the Goron detonator on the middle wave where they form basically a 5 with the dice in the formation, that also means the Goron detonator can't hit me. It's really funny if I could get it dead perfect, where I'm getting bullied really hard by these. Please help. Please help. Please stop letting him move me. I hate repositioning in this room. But anyway, if I position it correctly, the Goron detonator is literally on me. Oh, I was very close. Very close. If I'm like between his legs, he can't really do anything, so he has to like spin in circles. He gets confused. And just GG, it's over. I'll disrespect Grant's that. I didn't have to. Just felt like it. Sadly, no Bringer's Arm on this character. You're on your own team. I'll bring one when we switch to Viridian. Yeah, it's kind of neat. As I said before, there's always people that have been grinding stuff generally more than I have in certain areas, so sometimes they do tech I didn't see before. I know we still, even with something like TTF, we end up doing, oh, 2 PDs, nice. We end up doing like a lot of new tech for TTF. Like, it's such a commonly run quest, but like I feel like every few months there's just something new we learn about how to cheese that quest even harder. Darn, not Conjure. Like, killing all the Sinnoh Blues only using Confuse Traps is amusing. We learned about like using Confuse Trap on Barans and then leaving when we have very low level people in order to clear them without needing to be in the room. We experiment between like Confuse Trap to get free kills on Gilchick, for example, as you walk by them, or if it's worth using Freeze Traps depending on the party comp. I'm gonna recognize I'm not needed there and switch over to... Oh, I didn't bring my Rebard Emerge. I'm bad. Well, I guess I could do this without Rebard Emerge. At least I have Congeal Cloak for this boss. Yeah, there's always just something new we learn in TTF. Like, it started with slime duping, and it's moved on to how do we hit the boxes correctly? Just like simple stuff. Like, if you Razan the room, for example, in Vault Up, you can't hit all the boxes. But people can either courtesy pop a box, or they might end up... Wait a little bit here. Oh, there you go. Perfect heal. There's the perfect heal. Yeah, you love the perfect heal. Come on, chat. That's cool to do. Get that frame perfect heal. Nice try, boss. So, like, we'll always stack, for example, a Gafoe in order to save time, like if we're playing as a cat, or not as a cat, as a force. Oh, come on, that was so sick. I got the frame perfect Resta. Get out of here. The boss hit me with laser, but I was at full health. So good. So I always feel like there's always kind of jank you can pull off in PSO, which is fun. Also rip Chris. Or like using Dolphin on this boss, for example, is really funny. Oh, somebody gave me the wiggle hair cutscene. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. Thank you, chat, for whoever let me get hit by that laser. I'm so happy. Look at the wiggle. Look at the wiggle. And take this cutscene. I will destroy thee. Goodbye, cutscene. I don't think so. Anyway. This makes it a little easier to walk to the boss. Don't mind us. We're just gonna let the cutscene play out. Yeah, there we go. Oh, episode 4. You're so funny to cheese. Oh, solidarity. There we go. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, even if Contrary doesn't appear, if I get the wiggle, I won in the end. That's all that matters. Yeah, I love the bow. It's like extra wiggly. It's interesting how like this boss cutscene, when you watch it die, behaves so differently from TTFs. Like TTF, if you die and get revived, for example, you don't have free roam, but in that boss you do for some reason. It's just like those weird little differences. It's just amusing to find them. Like, do weird things in PSO necessarily equate to something being faster and more efficient? Not necessarily, but it is funny. I will take amusement in those findings and exploiting weird cutscene issues. Do I really not have a run emerge? Oh, okay, it's in her bag. I was gonna say. I better have one. I need it for next time.
Did we just see something we weren't supposed to?
Uh-oh, did we see something we weren't supposed to? Yes, you did. Oh, we love weird little glitches. Oh, the thing I wanna do this year, which I haven't practiced at all, I only vaguely understand it, is the katana warping. I wanna practice that in TTF at some point. We did ledge dropping last year, like just learning random tech in PSO. Some of it useful, some of it not. I think this year I wanna drop through and do some shenanigans. Just melee into the corner of TTF and somehow end up at the boss door. At minimum, I probably won't do it in like multiplayer games necessarily, but at least in solo play. It could be nice to just skip all of that. Yeah, sadly it is probably the end of even beat, so unless you got the divine filter. Breaking PSO is almost as fun as playing it, honestly. So true. I love breaking games. I was gonna say, if I'm having fun with the game, I'm like, okay, I got to see how it's played. Now how can we play it? It might not be how the game wants us to play it, but it's always fun to go into those things. Yeah. We'll save up for a divine filter for you, Chris. I think the harder thing is just getting the Heaven Punisher. So maybe we'll do some, I'm sure it drops on Gibbles on some run. We'll do some of those. I definitely don't want to do Booth Forest, Heaven Punisher. I'm not interested in those runs. Okay. Also, let us know, chat, if you want to hop in. I know some people just want to watch, and that's totally cool. But I want to make sure to give people a chance if they want to do it. I had a feeling my synchro was terrible. I'm gonna fix that eventually. Otherwise, we will continue. We'll do at least one more of these. Yeah, I think I'm okay with doing, like, boss runs with 3 people, but Christmas Fiasco 4... I don't know. That is, like, so enemy intensive. It's kind of brutal just to do with 3 people. I was gonna say, it's Team Orange. It's the orange ID with the 2 orange companions. Making sure I was set up correctly here.
You're wide open!
Thank you for the follow, Section Skyler. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like there are people with a lot of knowledge, but it's not necessarily shared. So I hope we just kind of gather those into like useful... I mean, sometimes when they play with us, people learn, but it's more making sure like after the fact that there's kind of like a repository. So if anybody learns interesting tricks, we've been creating a document for it. And I believe it's attached to one of our videos, but it's in the Discord regardless. So if we come across something fun, it'll be good to do. Eventually I have to put something on katana warping in there. Yeah, there's all those little tricks, like fire traps can hit enemies in the sky and spook them. So you could skip like Rappy Waves really quickly in episode 4. There's like a lot of weird things where fire traps just don't behave the way you think they would. And they're a lot more useful than you think they should be. At least as like a beginner player. I know a lot of people will say like, oh, fire trap is useless. And then you'll see like higher level players are like, oh, good, now I can use fire trap to combo kill, blah, blah, blah. Characters holding 3 Heaven Strikers. You did get 2 the other day, so that makes sense. I was gonna say, that checks out. You probably just never put them away. Yeah, fire trapping to stun Del Sabers. That one's a classic. And honestly, as we saw by forcing ourselves to go through challenge mode, we saw like how much damage fire trap was doing to the, what were they called? What are those boxes called? Rico boxes in episode 2. There's just like all those weird little niche scenarios where it's like, it might not come up, especially in Ephinea where you power level. But watching like 1 or 2 fire traps absolutely one-shot those boxes is kind of funny. It's definitely kind of a shame that the resistances are so high. I'm just gonna slow this wave down. I believe in you, team. I want to have my visual cue for when I can perfectly not accidentally frame run freeze Astark. Okay, now I can if I want. Gotta go back to stacking. Yeah, just like slowly improving gameplay. Like my mechanics are okay. It's one of those things where, you know, as I wake up, I'll get a little better at it. But in the moment, I'm like, oh no, what was my quick menu on the controller? I don't remember. I'll think about it, and that pause causes me to not use it sometimes. But then I'll remember, oh, it's that button. I'll feel good. Yeah, I think definitely being able to use like the back buttons to basically swap our control scheme is pretty nice. Oh, didn't realize the other Gafoi actually hit them there. This is a little unfortunate. I don't even think it was visibly there when it hit the Dwarf on there. The hitbox lingered. Or like, did you know that there is a hit limit on Gafoi? And there's a couple of quests that you could play where you could see it happen. And if it goes beyond, I think it's 25 targets. So if a single Gafoi hits 25 targets, the next one basically takes frame for frame damage. That's a fun one. I think we partially got that on stream before, but there's a really good clip of it on the Ephinea Discord. You just gotta play, what is it, Episode 1 Maximum Attack Mine Route. The one where you pick and choose whether you go from caves to ruins or caves to mines. I forget the exact name of that quest offhand. It's always interesting to see it there. Yeah, it might have been Random Attack Exert. It's kind of confusing because they have like version 1, version 2, and I'm like, I think it's the first one. Not the one that randomly goes to each room, but the one that has like a sort of set route. But if it's that one, then it's that one. Oh, finally a present. Sadly though, I have to say goodbye to the defense materials. God is welcome to take those. Let's see, is it just gonna be PDs? Please don't be a Berserk handgun. I feel like Taiju handgun is gonna be a meme on the stream at this point. I don't know how many I've picked up, but I'm like, please don't give me any more. Please don't. Why does it always have to be Berserk too? I don't want the Berserk handgun. Yeah, for those that missed it, what was it, in 2023? At one point, I think I opened 12 presents and I got 12 faiths. So it's a little better than 2023, but it's not ideal. We'll probably give at least one of those away to a new player. Like, I'll probably keep one for the sake of saying I've acquired it, but it's not something I would realistically use. I'm tempted to throw this on the ground. Actually, what? I need evade material. Rather my defense material back. Yeah, I like to just hold on the material so I don't have to do as much item management, but presents kind of throw it in for a loop. So technically I could get rid of some healing items, I guess. I don't really need a ton on this character. In fact, I could just dump 10 die mates. I don't really need those. Starks are bullying me, leave me alone. Ouch. Yeah, as long as I'm slightly off-center, the Buddhist here should take a pretty good amount of damage. Case in point. Now, if I had Ignition Cloak, they would have died just then. So there is a merit to switching over to Ignition Cloak on these runs. Yeah, and by being behind the Astark, it can't hit me immediately, so it gives the team more time to kill it. It's kind of like little small positional changes as we play. That was supposed to be the Robarda button, but I hit Razan for some reason. Oh well, back to stacking. Goodbye, satellite lizards. Yep, if chat has any questions or just wants to talk about PSO in general, feel free to bring up any topic. I do not mind chatting as I play. Although apologize if I do delay. Sometimes I do need to look at the screen, like to dodge spinners, but other than that, I could almost do it without looking at the screen altogether. Almost. So I should probably leave the center. Look at me using Barda. I want to make sure not to interrupt the Twin Blaze Gafoi, but I did want to get a couple Gafois out while we're waiting. Kind of makes sense. I was gonna say, he may have hit me, but at what cost? I see Chris just staring at all the die mates. I could split them up for you if you want. I'll just do stuff like this. There you go. Take what you want from the die mates. Or not Chris, it was Parameter. Yeah, I just dropped a solid 10 stack. I didn't really care. I keep picking them up by accident. Oh, be right back. No worries. I guess this should help since I'm the only other person here. Usually I just prefer to go Bowie stack because it just chips out the lizards. Without pew pew lasers, these things can take a while. I feel like it's a different mindset for like forces versus rangers versus hunters. Hunters, they have to understand exactly where they need to be in order to do the most damage with dark flow or things like that. Rangers are like, where can I position to hit the most enemies, or is there an enemy I need to hard lock down? Forces are like, okay, I'm fighting this wave, but 2 waves from now I need to be able to Gafoe stack. That requires me to be in this position of the room so I'm not immediately hit as soon as something spawns. How do I do that? That's like finding out all those weird little nuanced positions. It's very different than like the Hunter Ranger. And I think once I get closer to like quote-unquote optimal force gameplay where I'm only using quick menus for spells, it'll be fun. One thing I don't like about like the tech menu there is I actually play almost predominantly looking at the radar. I don't know if other people are the same way. So when I don't see it for a while, it really weirds me out, even in quests that I play a lot. Because I'm like, okay, where are the enemies relative to me? No worries, Chris. We understand if you need to step away at times. And it's kind of like one of those things where I don't really want to keep the menu up the whole time, but at the same time, like, There we go. Gotta hit him with the build a question. Do a little wiggle dance in here to make sure they dive bomb. Also, that's one of my favorite discovered strats on Zoo. Nobody told me about it. If you walk in a straight line in that room without doing the wiggle, it is very likely that those Zoos will... 2 of them will dive bomb, 1 of them won't. But if you do a little wiggle, it messes with the timing just enough by going side to side that it makes all 3 dive bomb. It's kind of funny. It's one of those things where it's possible to go too far in the room too quickly. So it punishes you for just immediately charging and holding W. But at the same time, it's like, if you hang near the doorway, then all of them are just going to sit back and not behave as expected. It's always kind of interesting to experiment with some of those rooms. I think this one in particular, I don't have too many questions on. I think as long as team is in like the upper right to deal with the Goron detonator, and then they need to go behind me, for example, to deal with the Gorons, I generally have a pretty safe time as the force. Otherwise, I'm just completely stacking. I'm gonna believe in the team to just kill that one target. Yeah, like, we'll eventually kill the Zoo, don't get me wrong, but if a freeze trap is placed there, it's so good. So it's kind of like splitting the duties. You know, who's in a good position in order to deal with, you know, who's on Zoo patrol, who's dealing with crowd control. And usually that's dependent on who has the traps, but you never know. 1 photon crystal? Oh, it's a shame. Yeah, like, see how, like, I basically never moved from the center of the room just to get all the Rappies here. Like, my position here was both to debuff the Goron detonators without needing Glide Divine by standing dead center in the room, and then making sure that, like, 5 waves from now, the Rappies are gonna fall, so I might as well just keep stacking here. My goal is to move as little as possible when I'm playing as the Force. Get those Gafoe stacks in. I'm gonna exit through the south door. I was gonna say, good case of rare drops, but it was just across Scar. I don't care about that. It's open for PDs, but it doesn't always happen. It's kind of like this room. Let's take this room as an example. When you first play this blind, a lot of people will just fight the Yowies. But like people that are more experienced are gonna go to the far end of the room, right? Because there's gonna be the triple Goron detonator. And then I know a couple of waves from now, it's just gonna be Zoos. So I know when I'm fighting the Goron detonators, I don't really need to worry about anything. Right, so I don't have to worry about Gafoe stacking here. It's more important that I get the debuffs on. So it's like, I have to think about a couple of waves in advance. Like, I'm fighting this enemy, so do I have the luxury of swapping into this and not stacking? And the answer is yes in this particular scenario. Make sure I'm over here. I know I still don't need to stack, but since I'm on the right side of the room, I'm in a good position to Rabarda, and I could go in the center, and then I can debuff, and the team should probably put a freeze trap, and they did. And then I'll recognize that in a couple of... Oops. That's unfortunate. I missed somebody with a buff. I was going to say, in a couple waves, I'll need to Gafoe stack to deal with Marissa's. I'll need Chris to come towards me at some point. Deal with these enemies in the meantime. There we go. Perfect. So it's like all my Gafoe stacks were still there. We did a little drive-by. We're all good. And I think a lot of PSO also is like, just because it seems like it sounds like a good idea doesn't mean it is due to PSO jank. So a great example are like the Marissas, right? Like your gut instinct is to freeze them. But honestly, unless you get them at like the perfect position in the perfect animation, more often than not, if you just kind of walk up and then place a freeze trap, for somebody, it's probably going to become untargetable. There's a lot of things we have to question, like, is it better to use a confuse trap here? Would a confuse trap mess up anything else in the room? You know, those kinds of things. Ooh, does anybody want to do my favorite strat with the Rawcast? If you just walk halfway into the middle of the room and put the confuse trap. That's one of my favorite strats. I love watching this. I don't even go in the room. Yeah, just like one of those things from playing solo. You basically debuff the room, then it lets them reach the red door for the Goron detonators, and then I can just Gafoe stack. Now you can kill them, you can do whatever you want. But I love doing that because like you're getting in the right position to deal with a wave in the future, which, you know, sometimes you do during quests as the ranger. A lot of times as you're getting used to a quest, you're more reacting to it. Oh, I need to kill this guy actually. Let's kill this guy. that's it. I'm gonna grant you out of spite. That's for wasting my time. Alright, let's see if I can find the exact center of the room. This might be too far up. I have a good visual cue. Let me go ahead and debuff them so the team can do that as I figure out what I want to do here. I think this might be okay. I basically want to be wedged between the two Goron detonators, not in the Satellite Wizard wave, but the one after that. If I'm perfectly dead center, I don't spook the Rappies. Might be like a smidge forward. I think that's it. Anywhere in between the Goron detonators is good. If I'm slightly to one side, it doesn't matter, as long as I'm not in front of a Goron detonator. Oh, I could have been like one step further forward. I think it still works, though. Yeah, it still works. I'm not going to move from this spot if I can avoid it. I've been moved from this spot. That's okay. Yeah, the reason being is see how, like, now their backs are turned? So even if they want to hit me, I get, like, 2 extra casts of Gafoi to deal with them. And then if I don't move from this position, because I'd like to usually adjust slightly further to the south, I should be behind the Pyro Gorons and the Goron Detonator. So they can hit me side to side here, it doesn't really matter. Fine, they need to stop slapping me out of debuffs, this is rude. Or, like, I know that a Goron wave is coming, and even though you can't stack on them, Lingering Gafoi could smack them as they spawn, so I could still end up with extra damage. Kind of like that. But there's, like, a whole wave of them I just did massive damage to. Although them moving me out of the center started to annoy me. Please stop doing that. Leave me alone. Yeah, see how I ended... Okay, that time I ended up too far to the right. And it's not because I moved there. It's more I'm getting slapped. I have to make, like, little micro adjustments as I play. And that's kind of the nature. It just depends on how strong the party is as to how abused the force will get. On the plus side, I have a lot of Mag Blast. Goodbye. Apply buffs. Come on, conjure you. Oh, here we go. Lame to Argent chance. That'll be fun. I feel like Conjure's appearing enough times that oh, that is an unfortunate spawning position. So, unfortunately, we tried to move a little further apart. I probably should have taken a couple more steps to the left or to the right. Oh, right, it's weak to ice. Always forget. There's so many weird knowledge checks in this game. This is one of them. Like, oh, Conjure's weak. Everything is weak to fire except for Conjure's thing here. And then both bosses, regardless if it's Saint Million or Conjure, will take damage from ice. Just swap into Repartimer. Since I popped the red one, I know they have more than enough time. I'm just gonna wait over here. I believe in the team. You can do it. Let's see if he pushes me into the wall, or if he pushes me to the left. Let's witness. Oh, he pushed me left. Unfortunate. I'll find out a perfect spot to stand so he actually shows me into the room. I think I may need to be more to the right. Wait, what happened to that? Wait, what happened to that missile? Did you see that? Is that normal behavior, chat, for the missile to just destroy itself like that? What happened there? Spinners are the worst. I healed 1 frame too early. When you get the sound effect, I want the sound effect to play as I'm getting hit, not a frame before I get hit. Like right about here. Oh, really close, really close. Unfortunately, boss is now being abusive. We're gonna have to try bait, I think, so I can get more attacks in. Yeah, that should be fine. I like that you can also Zalure the upcoming Conjure phase. That's a fun fact. Alright, so good split. So you can see, like, even as it goes to the next room, the Zalure is able to hit that piece for the next phase, which I think is kind of cool. Just like little tips to save time depending on your party comp. Please hit me with laser. No, he missed me. Oh, I was so close to breaking it with the cutscene. Was so close, chat. It is possible to do that preemptive to the boss dying, because it is a long wind-up animation. It's definitely easier if you get knocked down and then Mag Blast, because then it'll definitely override, but it is possible to do it without getting knocked down. Unfortunate. Oh, Lame to Argent. Okay. That's a good drop. Sadly, no hit percentage, but we'll take Dark. I was gonna say, Tiggy would be losing it. Tiggy's been hunting for a Dark Lame to Argent for a while. So I guess I need to help new players level while holding Lame to Argent. That's all I'm learning. Like, that'll give me motivation to play. I'm like, I kinda... 25 Dark is pretty substantial. I don't know what runs I would use it on specifically, though. Let's not mistech this, hopefully. No. Oh my gosh, learning you can retech things. That old GameCube knowledge. I was like, man, I feel bad for players that just immediately tech it. I'm like, no, the plus 10%. So sad. Still feed its souls since I fed its souls last time. I can at least tell by what stats are max what item I fed it. Oh, Vulcan's in the shop, but no charge Vulcans. What a shame. Lame Dark Shin? Yeah, you're right. So, we'll ask again if anybody's here. As I said before, I don't mind doing Christmas Fiasco, but that is a brutal quest with just 3 people. Oh, I forgot to put that in the bank. Whoops. I'm bad. We'll do at least one more of these, then we'll switch it up. If we get somebody else to join and block 2, we'll go ahead and do that. I gotta put away my, like, I don't know, is this my 5th Berserk type handgun? So if there are new players that would like a weapon, let me tell you, I got a deal for you. Okay, so by holding a PD, I can make sure I don't need to make room for it. But question, how many more PDs do I need? 6. Okay. Yeah, we got a nice little gathering of PDs and stuff. So we've almost made literally 200 PDs this event. A little bit of it was from trading, which I don't usually do. And then, like, yeah, chat was pointing this out to me because I'm, like, so blind when it comes to these things. I like that I can look left now instead of opening the door to determine what episode I'm in. Like, if I see the kid, I know it's episode 4. But I like that in Ultimate, if you see this planet, you know you're in episode 4. And if you see weird clouds and, like, bright blue sky, you're in episode 1. Yeah, switch out to Gapoe merge. Well, technically in the beginning I'm Rapoing. I should technically use Fire Scepter. I'm gonna sort so that I held items at the top. Here's an example of stuff like people might not know. Veterans probably know, but fun fact, when you hold a weapon and then sort, it means that even if I were to later equip, for example, let's say Fire Scepter, now whenever I go to quick menu, Magical Piece will be at the top. So I find for players, usually coming in from like the very hard to ultimate, there's usually only a couple of weapons that they enjoy using. So, you know, they might have a sniper or shotgun. So when you pick up a lot of junk items or you have like a lot of situational items, it's good that if you only plan on using like one primary and then looping back to it at the end of your combos, that as long as you hold it when you sort, you could force it to be at the top of your quick menu. That is actually useful whenever you're, for example, if you're doing a lot of charge Vulcans in a run, to put it at the top of the list. Fun fact. I like doing that with Magical Piece, because these other ones are situational at best, so I'd rather be able to quick swap into Magical Piece. We'll give Parameter a little bit of time. Oh boy, I'm at 146 tickets. The cap, as we found out, is 255. Fun fact. Eventually, this character will need to go there. See how Magical Piece keeps going back to the top? What a thing of beauty. So if I just want to use this room and stack up a Bowie on these enemies, for example, I can do that, and then when I'm ready to swap, I just do that. Which also means it's less button presses than going in this menu and then selecting it. So there are times I will always do that quick menu swap if I know it's the primary weapon in the run. Anyway, back to Bowie stacking. Oh, I don't know if I hit him right before he ran. I thought he was gonna run sideways, but yeah. Sideways relative to me versus him going left across the screen. Uh-oh, YouTube is like, no more music. Thou shall not be entertained. There we go. YouTube striking again. That's the challenge factor, when the music just cuts randomly. Fortunately, we have I think a longer soundtrack coming up. I think it's from the game called Edge of Eternity, from the same composer that we've been listening to. That is 3 hours, and it is 1 mega video, and I appreciate that kind of video when I stream. Nice level up. Oh. Oh my. So chat, we have officially gained in an hour more presence than 4.5 hours of gameplay. Nod your head, chat. It happened. We beat yesterday's record low. It didn't take very long. I got a single photon drop, but you know what? I'll take photon drops. We have a couple challenge mode weapons to upgrade. And then whatever's left over, we'll probably hold on to a couple of hordes for trading purposes. But at least from the standpoint of challenge mode weapons, we're gonna make at least 2 more. I'd like to do 1 more episode run with the group. And honestly, for people that just want to trade it out, like I know Parameter has a ton of weapons, but honestly for value, I don't mind getting another episode 1. We're on our way to getting like a Demon Needle in episode 2. I haven't decided if I honestly want the Hell Needle at all. It's one of those things where I play CCC, and every time I play CCC, I just prefer Hellshot the whole time. There's like a couple opportunities in like Spaceship where like I would maybe switch it, but if I'm only doing CCC, I actually just don't think Hell Needle is that great. It just doesn't hit enough of the room. Especially if I'm playing single player, then I definitely want Hellshot over Hell Needle. But I think if I'm doing a quest like a Penumbral Surge, for example, I could see, for example, the Hell Needle coming in handy. But as of today, I don't run those quests. My go-to is not episode 2. But I will give shout-outs again to the people that have created all the custom quests, as I do think episode 2 vanilla quests are either just like really sparse and not really that fun to play, or just really unfair. So I think from the standpoint of removing those cross-formation lilies from the custom quests, but still offering a high number of what we'll call murder flowers, I think has made it a lot more interesting. It's a shame that it's rare enemy week, or else we'd probably be doing more December disaster quests. If the team really wanted to, we could run it. Technically, it has value on White ID with rare enemy. But sadly, we're probably not likely to get another V502 this event. I'll leave it up to chat's decision, since we're gonna change quests. Yeah, because technically, like, episode 2 has, like, the Saint Rappy, stuff like that. It's always amusing to get. Then obviously with White ID having, what is it, Discover 13, or Discover 13, I mean, close enough. It's Discover Brayman M13, 13 for the rare drop. Still means they get some value from rare enemy, but obviously it's not like a CF4 surprise, Lame to Argent. Yeah, it's only if the team wants to. Again, a lot of these quests are harder to do with 4 people, and I'm thankful that some of the quests are more geared towards 4 people versus just 2 people. I think I talked about this before, but I think like the average difficulty of a PSO quest assumes 2 people, and then event quests assume 3 people, but those people have to be pretty geared. Which I think is a good balance, because like it's not really hard to beat like a TTF with just 2 people, for example. In fact, you could solo it as well, but from the standpoint of like the multiplayer stats, it feels like it is meant to be run with 2 people start to finish. There's not like a lot of enemies, there's not like a whole bunch of crazy things you need to worry about. Episode 4, it kind of toggles between 2 and 4 people. A bit more than I would say some of the other ones. And a majority of the vanilla episode 2 quests are like 4 people or bust. Like, do you not have 4 people to deal with 4 insta-kill enemies all spread apart, so that way you can't just single freeze-trap them? Yeah, GG to your run. Which I don't really find that great. But I like that there's, you know, I would say a thought process being put into the enemies. In particular with the Anniversary Tower quest was probably one of my favorite quests at episode 2. I would say period. I think that's actually my favorite quest to run in the game. And it's a shame it's only there for Anniversary. But I like the ability, and I would say the care and the placement of enemies, where there are a lot of threats, but they're broken down into like 1 or 2 logical groups. So that way you could get away with like 1 or 2 trap users, not requiring 3 god tier characters, etc. But still requiring like a lot of knowledge and positioning in order to deal with them. But I also like the fact that, in particular for the Anniversary quest in December Disaster, despite techs being useless for damage, they're also positioned in such a way that you can really crowd control those quests with the Force, and kind of have a makeshift 4th party member with lingering Rafoi and stuff like that. So it's really neat to be able to cast a single Rafoi and lock down like 6 high priority targets, which again, 6 is kind of a weird number for rangers to deal with. So like if it's just 2 rangers together, you'd have to get like, make sure you don't accidentally all hit the same 5 targets, etc, etc. But like, the Force being able to full screen Rafoi, stun lock, and do all these other things, it's kind of neat that they can crowd control some of the better implemented quests. Whereas like, I just don't find it fun, at least as a Force. Like, see how these are like 2 distinct groups? When you start splitting it beyond 3, and they're not within like Rafoi range of each other, or Gafoi lingering stacks of each other, it just becomes like a, why am I here with the character? I don't really find that stuff kind of fun. So December Disaster mostly avoids that, fortunately. It's kind of an interesting scenario where like poor sorcerer is only on like the bottom floor of spaceship, and we barely go there, and I barely go there. So it's nice to be able to experience those enemies and see new patterns. But ultimately, I really like how the enemies are grouped. Like, they're all close enough that Rafoi can stunlock a lot of the major threats, or they're all close enough that you could get away with like 1 trap user almost the entire quest. And there's like a natural point where if you want to retrap, there's like an easy wave for your character to die on without like throwing it for the party. And I like that, you know, there's a generosity of healing circles in some of the custom quests, where like every time you go through a different floor, you get another healing circle. So that way players that are not playing with your like 20 freeze traps, etc., at least have a chance of completing it. But as I said before, not a big fan of episode 2 vanilla. I still don't think I've beaten the story mode at episode 2 due to that stupid timer. One day, chat, we'll go back and defeat that timer. Unironically, I think on Ultimate I needed challenge mode weapons to clear that appropriately, or I need somebody to just map out all the weird twists and turns to avoid losing a ton of time. What a shame. It's like one of those things where, like, we've beaten Endless, we've beaten all these things, but then you get, like, a fragments of memory, hope you don't move while going through ruins moment, and you're like, I don't know if I want to beat this. I'm like, I think I've seen enough. I think I've seen what Sega can do. I'm good. Escafo stacking going on. Goodbye, Zeus. No, we haven't seen so far, despite it being Rare Enemy Week. Where are the Marissas and Pazuzus? Those are actually some good value for Orange ID. A little bit of a disappointment there. This just feels like normal Enemy Week. Last session, it was good. We were getting, like, what was it? Like 2 Del Rappies, a Pazuzu, and a Dorfon Eclair in the same run or something like that. I'm like, oh, that feels like a boosted Rare Enemy Week. But it's like, oh, is there suddenly value in Orange ID? We can't have that. You want hit percentage kunai in order to show off Yukaseel all the hero abilities? Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, did you just want more Pal Rappies? I heard you wanted more Pal Rappies. Like, no. One of those things. I'm definitely interested for the people that play a lot. Are there drops that you would want changed? If they were going to do another drop table change. I think we've had this discussion a couple times on stream. I really hope they fix Spaceship. It's like really good on a couple IDs, and it's just absolute dumpster fire for like everything else. Guild Chicks in particular drop nothing interesting pretty much ever, with one ID exception, and even then it's not wonderful. There's so many rares they could add in there that aren't like game-changing per se, but would still be more valuable. Like, does every murder... Like, why are there, like, 3 IDs for miracles that drop Asuka? Like, is that needed? Right, chat? Is that really needed? Did we really need to do that? It's already a difficult enemy. Can it at least be something that is conditionally valuable? I think, for example, in Parameter said the other day, Holy Ray would have been interesting to see there, or potentially something like Guardiana. Like, something that's, like, not going to immediately change the world if it low rolls, but at least it's more interesting than an Asuka. It doesn't have to be, like, V502 level to, like, every enemy, which, to be fair, there is an ID that has it there, but it's kind of one of those things. Really like to see more motivation to play episode 2. Outside of literally Christmas Fiasco 2, just don't think I ever touched Spaceship, to be real with you. Like, Penumbral Surge 2 is fine, but I'm not gonna... That's like a... Only if it's an RBR would I ever consider it. It's not like this quest, where it's not an RBR, and there's so much inherent value. Ooh, another present. That there's no reason for me to not run this quest, regardless of the events. Oh, oops. No, it doubled the presents yesterday. Well, that's a good sign. I think I've almost gathered as much in an hour, 14 minutes as I did on Christmas, where it was allegedly present double rate. Allegedly. If you go back and watch the VOD, I don't know if that was true for me. Maybe I missed it in the client patch update. I think I got 3 presents in 6 hours or something. Where we played for an hour, 14 minutes with half the present drop rate. And also, while it's not drop rate up, we got more presents. So silly. RNG does some weird things sometimes. It's gonna bully this thing with Barda. Like my mag basically rubber banding to my face. That's interesting. That was supposed to be before. There we go. Oh, that's so scary as phone new roll. She just gonna hit randomly. Let's focus on crowd control here. I had a feeling I was close enough to chance the freeze there, but... Yeah, here's an example where I just don't like doing that walk I just did without seeing where they are on the minimap. Even though I played this quest a lot. Like, I don't know. It weirds me out. Damn, the brand's launcher says no. Now, leave it up to the group if you want to do Relative Go. Oh, there's a Marissa AA. It's about time. Look how I spawned in the Marissa. It's so confused. Poor Marissa. It tried. Can't defeat me. I mean, if you get an no-feel hit with C's, it could be good here. Sadly, it did not drop anything for me. 50-50 be damned, chat. Congrats on a no-feel C's. Or however you pronounce that, to be honest. I'm probably saying that wrong. No hit percentage, that's important. It's one of those weapons that pairs with another one, so unless that it's hit percentage, people just throw it away. You can keep it if you've not had one before, but it doesn't do anything by itself, sadly. Yeah, look how much damage they were doing to each other for a moment there. Holy. Yeah, I think I got one with 30 hit or something. It's not bad. It might be worth combining at some point with the other items. Slow them down with a couple Kapoes. The intent that I gotta kill these satellite lizards. Slightly too far back, but I didn't spook the Rappies, which is the more important thing. Oh, now I did. Rip. I needed to be right here. I've said before, I don't really have a good visual cue where to stand. So being off by even like one step is enough for it to not work. It's kind of painful. Uh-oh, they're moving me forward. That's not good. I want to be moved forward. I gotta back up. Holy, I was getting bullied. Leave me alone. So I guess, yeah, leave it up to the group. So they're saying Pharrell's Ego, December Disaster, or Christmas Fiasco 4. I'm willing to try it if the group wants to do it. I just know December Disaster is pretty difficult with just 2 ATP. It's possible. I've done it before. It's definitely like 8 to 9 minutes slower. CF4 is a lot of things. Team would have to probably bring their A game to make up for lack of players. I'll at least bring in before we merge and stuff like that for it. I'm gonna move way further over. Last time I was just too close. Figure St. Million. Unfortunate. Oh, that was the whole soundtrack for Revolve 8. Let's listen to Edge of Eternity. Ah, with Fire Scepter, I can 3-shot it. Take that, boss. What a time save on that phase. Alright, let's go slightly to the right here. So there's like a little crack in the wall. If I go here, is it gonna push me forward? Let's witness. So if I'm slightly to the left, it pushes me left. Did it push me into the cutscene? I think it did push me into the room. That's good. Go on the side of the room so we don't get hit by tornado. Try to dodge spinner. Wow, the boss just immediately went to laser. Damn, we made it give up. Oh, I got the frame perfect heal. Nice, time save. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was gonna desync it. Oops, got a little overzealous there with Robarda. Too early? I can fix a desync with the grants, so it's not the end of the world. Getting missiled into missiles is just kind of rude, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, it's just slightly too early. A shame. Ooh, they got really desynced due to Brand's launcher. That's kind of brutal. Yeah, that's kind of the downside. If Brand's launcher crits, that can cause some big problems, because not all pieces are equally critable. Whereas, like, with Cannon Rouge, it'll crit everything, or it'll miss with it crit on everything else. It is what it is, I guess. Oh, why did I do that? That's not gonna work. Use a Barda here. There we go. Say Chris is over here somewhere. I'll find him eventually to buff him. I was pretty close in my defense. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Nice knockdown on the cutscene. Take that, boss. Disrespect it. Let us all be free. Poor game. It probably just has a simple flag to determine whether or not you're in a cut. Look at that wiggle. Probably just has a simple cutscene flag to say, like, is in cutscene. But the problem is if you stack two cutscenes inside of each other and one of them ends, you get control like this. Even though I was locked, we made it end. Funny enough, a similar thing happens with, oh, I got disappointed. I saw hit percentage, got excited, saw it did nothing, moved on. A similar thing happens in Soten, where if you can activate the cutscene of, what is it, the fairy speaking while entering the shop, you can suddenly start moving and manipulating your equipment menu despite being in a shop, leading to the near infinite money glitch, of course. It's a shame the antenna don't wiggle, I know. Please buff Seal, please make wiggle. So what would the group like to do? Actually, you know what? I'll offer this. It'll be Terrell's, CF2, but we only do spaceship, December Disaster, or CF4. Those are your 4 choices. These things. No. No. Put one of these back for now. Rippo PLCs. I'll probably pick that up and team point it. Grells or December Disaster. Oh, sounds like a parameter might have a tie-breaking vote. I salute you, 10 team points. ED, sure thing. Let's go ahead and switch into White ID. I think we reasoned it would probably work best to play as White ID through the whole quest. Although Pink ID is not terrible, I just don't think it has as much value as White ID. So we have a small chance of Saint Rappy. Rare Lily could end up being 13 on white IDs. There's some value for doing it on rare enemy. It's not totally valueless.
This is the Reaper's power.
Got room for another player? Absolutely, Retract, if you'd like to hop in. Or in between quests, we're going to do some December Disaster. And a fourth player is definitely welcome in that kind of quest. You can always do some more CF4 at any point later. Also, I put it in the Discord, but I'm not going to be available Tuesday or Wednesday. And Monday's my off day, so I'm not going to volunteer that day. But Friday, we'll do a bonus stream. So Thursday, Friday, and then probably Saturday morning will be the last of PSO for the event. And then we'll work out with the people that we started challenge mode with. Like if Dango's available, we'll do some challenge mode on one of the weekend days, probably. We'll finish that up to get some value. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to hit 200 PDs in this event. We still have 3 days, and I only need 3 PDs. And we're not even done with today's session. So pretty good. That's like, what, four challenge mode weapons upgraded? I hear the, Actually, yeah, wrong episode. I mean, we could have done CF4 technically, but I don't want to do that. My brain was thinking CF4. Let's make that again. I'm like, not on white ID. Let's do December Disaster. Need to finish up episode 2. Might at some point go to see, but I had a pretty valid which up there so far. Honestly, I found drops so far haven't really been a big issue when we've tried challenge mode 2. It's more like comfortability with the quest, with Overflow. Like, I don't think there's been a moment where we've ever really quote-unquote party wiped, even in like the early phases. We redid the Seabed a lot because Team was trying to learn Okaflow the hard way. It's one of those things where the other challenge mode episode is so easy that you could be like 110 minutes on Seabed and still end up with S rank. Even getting to Ogaflow was hard. Was it though? Only like the first room was. Like only if you're the player that has to deal with the early Sinnoh barrel, that room sucks. But like you're not gonna have good gear no matter what you do there. Whereas I felt like we just needed a weapon with grinders to deal with Ogaflow, and we gave one player literally all the power materials after a certain point, and they did fine. Like, it's great if they got a good weapon, but I guess it matters more if you don't have, like, variety. I would say if you don't have, like, a mech gun of some sort or a pistol at some point for, like, UCAS, then, yeah, that I would get, because there's a lot of annoying things you have to shoot. So it could be like, oh no, I have to either really ration out fire traps in order to deal with Rico boxes on the ceiling, or sadness occurs. Yeah, like, it's kind of unfortunate that the Del Beater is kind of random. Like, it's not guaranteed to spawn there. And then it's one of those things where, like, you'll realize that the Del Beater is never mandatory to kill, so you just ignore it. You literally just go, you run by it, you go fingers crossed, I'm not dealing with this. Not needed to kill, not dealing with it, goodbye. Freeze, trap, and run, bye. Not dealing with this. Yeah, I would say we got like a lot of extra experience by spending time on the Rico boxes. So I feel like if you really farm it out, you'd still be able to S rank pretty easily. Oh yeah, Phonu roll. I'm gonna experience that soon. I was playing as what was it, Phonuman? He had some problems with it. I don't look forward to that as Phonu roll, though. It'll be interesting. But it's kind of one of those things where pretty much... What was the magic number, chat, we were hitting? I think it was 214 is the magic number that your front line needs to be at to potentially survive more than one attack from Olga Flow. Anything over that is not super necessary to survive the first phase. And if you're going to get hit in phase 2, it's probably going to be doing like 280 anyway if you're getting hit by the laser attack. So either you walk into the foot and take damage, or die. There's kind of not an in-between. It's very binary. If close, dead. If already knocked down, safe, or out of distance. So I feel like it's more just making sure you get enough health to, like as you said, like the Fodu roll, who is atrocious health. To be fair, Phonuman health is also pretty bad, but it's definitely going to be an interesting challenge. It's going to be a bit unfortunate that as the Phonu roll, it's going to take longer to become safe, but definitely knowing about that, what was that? Was it like 4 floors in? There's one warp you can take that leads to the treasure box room. Knowing the treasure box room exists is super crucial. The room that leads to it is the room that normally, if you're playing Respective Tomorrow, it has the 2 Rico boxes, then a Sinnoh barrel comes from the ceiling, and then you walk through the very long corridor, and then you fight another Sinnoh barrel, and then there's like a Rico box on the side of the room, and it leads to the 4 Rico box pattern room. That, whatever that room type is called, with all the columns in it, which is unique to Seabed. That room, as long as you go there, you'll probably be fine. If you could get to that room, you are good for the rest. You could have had like really bad drops, but we've seen it give like 3 to 4 HP materials across the board, general HPs. It's like you just end up with so much health, you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna die for the rest of the walk. Plus it also gives a guaranteed escape doll, which is huge. So it's kind of finding that balance between like the optional rooms and everything else. There we go, I tricked him into turning towards me. It's all up to you, team. There we go. That's a great question. I'm gonna say I'm still a little new to challenge mode too. I was just forced to do it so many times because we kept dying on it. So my recommendation to you is you need to keep your hunter buffed as much as you can. If you don't keep your hunter buffed, you're gonna be in for a long battle. You don't want to be in for a long battle with the boss. The other thing you need to focus on is Zalor. You need to Zalor the boss whenever it does a jump attack. So learning that Olga Flow does, 3 moves into a guaranteed jump. So it'll do like walk, swing, then like laser swords, then it goes into jump. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong on this. But it is a set pattern. So I recommend, like, for players that don't know the exact pattern, to just watch it in normal once. And then you'll understand that there is a really, really big gap the boss leaves. 3 sword swings and jumps, thank you for confirming. So you'll recognize that that is your biggest opportunity as a force to go in, Zalor again, and make sure you do what you can. So you want to get that early Zalor and just stay away. Because what I would recommend for newer players is not everybody's going to know the foot strat, where when the boss goes to do its laser sword attack, it'll move its foot, and its foot actually does damage. So you can time getting hit by the foot to dodge the attack. It's a good strat, but it doesn't always work if you're too early, and that can result in a lot of deaths. So what I would recommend, especially with players of mixed experience with challenge mode, is definitely feed all your escape dolls except for 1. Always keep 1 on your person. And feed it to 1 hunter. Give that hunter all your grinders. Make sure that hunter has some mixed damage types so that they're able to hurt the boss on the second form. Ideally not dark percentage. And then you just get through. So it's like, I would say if it's quote-unquote throwing the run, play ultra safe. As soon as you lose all your escape dolls, play full screen. Don't even bother going in until you see the boss jump. Ideally, you know, if you're feeling confident, you can walk into it, and that's like a great thing to do. But at the end of the day, unless you are planning to grind this out for like endless hours, it is so much easier to just run up debuff while it's doing its initial walk. Let it do some sword swings. Maybe you could get close enough in between sword swings to reapply Shifta, because Shifta wears off pretty quickly. And if you find an opening, great. I wouldn't risk anything. As I said before, risk absolutely nothing. Because it's hard for the faux numeral to get that much health unless everybody gives you a lot of HP materials. So that means that unless you're playing with the Huecast, it's going to be hard to have more than one hunter that has enough health to survive the Phase 1 of Ogaflow. Because Phase 1 of Ogaflow is, funny enough, more likely to kill you once you get more used to Ogaflow, because of the fact that if you just mess up, like, dodging the sword slowly goes around the arena phase, that does do over 200 damage, and if you don't have a defense, you just kind of die, aka the faux numeral problem. So it's kind of a weird mix of survival there. But I think once we had chat practice off stream a little bit, and we did it on stream together once to get used to Ogaflow, and it was so much easier just letting one primary hunter go in. A second hunter can go in if they want to, but again, they're playing with potentially only one escape doll, so they should just play it safe. It's okay to take it a couple minutes later just to lock in the win. Because honestly, you're going to play tower, especially as a new player, and you're going to be like, wow, why is this the easiest stage? Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, it just, like, tower was the easiest outside of maybe technically temple. I think we got it second try, and it was more just because we were getting used to some spawns. And we're like, oh, is that all it has? And then we're like, oh. Yeah, tower was actually fun because of how fast you level. So, like, we just always had freeze traps, and we're like, oh, okay. Oh, chat froze the enemy too quickly. Rip. That took a little while. Almost made me second guess where the spawn was. Yeah, I definitely say, like, just spend an extra 5 minutes. You're, like, for example, if you're looking at the Ephinea wiki and it's like target time at tower is 40 minutes, we did it in like 21 with like no experience. Like, the tower is the easiest one to clear by far. It's just like, oh, we're gonna save so much time here. It doesn't matter. It's just like, it's over. GG. So, yeah, don't feel bad if it goes on for 2 hours. You'll still get S rank even with that kind of time. Yeah, the difference between going slow and not going slow is basically, I don't know, like 10 extra minutes on the boss. It's not going to be as much time as you think. And honestly, if you're playing with like a really non-optimal comp, maybe it's worth spending a few minutes of the target time fighting the Rico boxes. If your team comp is like literally faux new rule, 2 Huecast, 1 raw cast or something like that, I don't think it's needed. But if you're anything that's a little mixed or like even a little bit questionable, like you have a human ranger, for example, in episode 2, just kill some Rico boxes to get extra HP. It's kind of like guaranteeing the material. That kind of negates the bad drops there. Because once, basically, where the run would die for us in Seabed was either literally the first floor before we got any items, and everybody except for Huecast was one-shottable the barrels, or the final boss, and there was kind of nothing in between. It's very binary. It's like, did you survive first floor? Great. You're gonna make it all the way to the boss every time. The other big thing, which confuses me, and we wasted a lot of time because it's not clear in the guide. I'd like to complain at the wiki writers for this. I'd like to complain, official complaint. I'm putting it in. They did not make it clear, and neither does like the PSO world make it clear, that you might remember while doing it, there's like those, there's a couple of those warps where the party gets split up, and there's also the room where seemingly every party member gets warped midway through the fight. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware, maybe I don't want to assume here, but did you know you can actually manipulate it so everybody just ends up on the same room and the same route? because that makes it so much easier. When you realize you could do that, you're like, oh, I wish I knew I could do that. That would have saved me a ton of time. Like, you're like, wait, I could just have everybody in the same route, and we could just always body everything. We're not waiting like 20 years for somebody to solo one of the dark room paths. Like, oh. Thanks, PSO. Anyway, if you're not aware of it, there's 2 warps. Oh, pause check on the hallway warps is also a huge one. So if you're looking at the Ephinea one, and there's that one hallway where there's like laser gates dividing the hallway, and it's like, oh man, you got to figure out the right path. Yeah. So here we go. We're gonna teach you something, Section Skyly. So here's what you could do. There's gonna be on that whole floor has all these gimmick warps. Fun fact: if you have your pause menu open, you don't have to worry about what side of a hallway you're on. So for any of the later ones where you see the laser gate dividing the hallway, just pause menu and walk through it. It doesn't matter which route you go. So A, that's a big time saver. B, there's one warp leading into a lot of split teleports. I'm sure you know which, roughly where I'm talking about. That warp has this weird, like, spark energy to it. So you know that's how you could visually identify it, even if you don't remember where it is. The side you approach that warp determines where the group goes. So what I would recommend, if you think of it as like a triangle, the base of the triangle is facing away from you. Have everybody just go on the left side of the triangle. Like if you're walking towards it, go to the left side kind of things. And you will all end up in the same room as long as you all touch the left side of the triangle. If one of you goes in the center or one of you approaches from the right, it's going to separate you. Similarly, when you're in the long room, and it's usually, I call it like the Delbeater hallway hell. You see it in like some of the other episode 2 quests. And there's like Rego boxes on the side. It's like one of the stretch rooms. At the end of that room, it teleports you. If you know what room I'm talking about, have everybody, prior to killing the last enemy wave, go on the left wall. So just remember, when in doubt, stay on the left. And if everybody's on the left wall, it doesn't teleport you right away until you rub against the left wall. And by staying on the left side of the room, you could think of the room as a giant split teleport, I guess the best way to put it, that you can't see. But if everybody's on the left, you end up on the easier of the 2 routes and you're all together. Knowing that saved like 15 minutes from the run. So hopefully that saves you a lot of time. And then you're no longer stressed about like, oh no, I'm lone foe neural. What the heck do I even do here? So knowing that is like such a time save. So please petition for people that wrote the Ephinea wiki to please update that. It is so important to understand that you can do that. They kind of make mention of it a little bit, that it's like stay to the left in this room, but they don't say why to stay left in the room. Similarly, they don't say anything for the warp where you can manipulate it. By being on the left, you go here. By being on the right, you go on the much harder route. It's not explicit in that. So for people that were only looking at like that wiki, because the PSO world one is pretty bad. It has like no images, so like good luck finding your route in there with all text. That is a big time save. So hopefully between those 2 things, Section Skyly, you could take those 15 minutes that you would have wasted waiting for like your solo person to somehow deal with the split path, which did happen to us on stream. And that was easily 10 minutes by itself we lost waiting for a person to somehow solo. Double Delbeater, 4 Sinnohs, then like 20 guild, like all the nonsense in there, the Dolem Darls or whatever they're called. Instead of dealing with that, yeah, Chris could tell from experience. Being able to group there means you could take more time on the Rego box itself and just kill the Ricos. So for example, you could just mark a room with Gafoe or mark a room with Zalor and just let the team gradually kill all the Ricos. So if you're not feeling confident about your HP totals, just take the first couple of floors a little slower and farm them. Like as you get more comfortable, like obviously for people that are looking for time attack, you go as low level as you can, you don't bother. But for people that are like just easing into it, I cannot tell you how important it was to have those extra 2 levels of stats. It really negates a ton of bad drops. Yeah, no worries. I'm just glad to help. Listen, see, this is why we bring up random conversations. People are really good at very specific things because they run it the most. And then I learned through horrible, brutal experience how I would clear it and do okay at it. So between making sure the Rego boxes spawn multiple Ricos, which is really good for rangers to tag them. You as a Fonural are really good at cleaning it up if you have Rafoi, but Gafoi's not bad either. Yeah, we learned through trauma. We learned the hard way how we're gonna get through it. Is it the best way? Not necessarily if you have like a really solid team. But if you're just learning, like absolutely, you will take any kind of handicap or edge you can do to reduce difficulty. And being able to manipulate that is huge. Similarly, it's really important for your starting positions in Challenge Mode Episode 2 to ensure that your strongest character is Player 1. So if you are hosting as a force, that is probably why you're having a bad time. That's one of those ones you have to give it up. Make it a hunter. Don't make it anybody other than a hunter for slot number 1. I think player slot number 3 was really good for force. Yeah, okay. So there's like little things there that help so much if you know that. Because the HuCast has to go on a magical journey, and then like the other 3 players will be grouped up most of the time. So basically if you end up... I'm trying to think how to put it. I think player 2... Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's player 2 ends up in the same room as the HuCast, but he's like on the lower route. And he has to wait for that really horrible Sinnoh barrel spawn, where there's like 2 of them, and you're like, you just can't do anything by yourself. Where like if you tell your players, especially characters that can't survive a hit, to just wait for the rest of the party, that also saves you scape dolls, because inevitably those other 2 players, which I think are player 3 and player 4, will end up meeting up in that long room with that awkward time delay, and then they can gang up on the barrels together. So that way one player isn't trying to kite 2 Sinnohs, which, as I said before, like, if you get really comfortable with the game, it's possible, but is it realistic to expect of people with, like, very mixed experience or, like, limited to no Episode 2 experience? Absolutely not. In the meantime, they could just farm the Rico boxes, get extra XP while they're waiting, so their time spent is at least checking items. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, like, completely dead time. And boy, oh boy, did that make the run go a lot better. Also, fun fact, if you want to make the run easier, Section Skyly, if you truly don't care about cheesing things out... Ooh, hello, present. Hold that thought. There we go. You could just all purposely die in the beginning rooms in that quest in particular, just to guarantee that you have more healing items for the quest. Well, not guarantee is a strong word. You can encourage the graves to drop items when you touch them. Because that's a little more appropriately... Oh, I was slightly too slow on Gafoi. Damn, that was my fault. I saw my hand do it, but I was like, damn, I should have rebarted. That was a little slow. My bad. But anyway, graves have a random chance of giving items, and it is really funny getting like multiple monomates or dimates from that, because that alone will make up for pretty much tanking the boss at the end for Ogaflow. So again, depending on your party comp, if you're feeling confident, somebody could have, I think you need 286 HP to discourage being one-shot by the Sword of Phase 2, which is possible with the HuCast to hit in that quest. You could, in theory, just let them stack up with a million healing items. But ideally, what'll happen as the Force is that if you have any Rangers, they should basically just walk with you the entire time. And when they do so, you're able to keep shift up on them so they can hit from a distance. And also that means that if you all get hit collectively as a group, your Resta is going to be able to effectively hit multiple targets. So if you want to reduce like how likely you are to die to Ogaflow, and you're looking to figure out what to do if you're not under the foot of the boss, having a small group of characters off to the side, there is no shame in that. Do what you can to win, because that boss fight sucks. What'd I get in the presents? Photon drops again. Okay. So technically I have 199 photon drops from the event. That's always fun. I have enough that if I want to make a photon horde, I can. But yeah, that quest probably took the most figuring out through brute force and researching what we can. Oh, speaking of which, so this is an example where people that need to retrap can. So there's like one miracle all by itself. The people that need to die to that for traps, go ahead. Please do so at this point. There we go. So we're not going to revive and let them reset. We'll go ahead and rebuff them. So yeah, I would say like Faux Newman definitely has an edge in challenge mode on that stage. Otherwise, they're kind of terrible. Like Temple in particular, I was dying. I was like, please, just give me something to work with. But unfortunately, with the Faux New World, you're gonna have to play around the HP. So just be aware that there is pretty much a guaranteed... There's a guaranteed 4-slot armor that you can always pick up. That should absolutely go to your Huecast. You might even just give them general HPs or general powers to equip. It really just depends on the setup, on like who's been eating what as you go forward. And be aware that there's some guaranteed HP materials and units that are in that quest. So if you don't skip the boxes, they will be there every time. And if you're lucky, you'll get some from random drops, but it's not guaranteed. And again, a lot of that is not necessarily like, oh, we didn't have the right weapon, we can beat the boss. It's more, how do I ensure I could beat the boss safely? So when everybody is out of scape dolls, you take it ultra slow. Don't even bother hitting the boss between sword swings. Just run. Because at that point, you already messed up. It's not worth risking and throwing like 30 minutes of progress. Or not 30 minutes, more like 60 minutes of progress. That's kind of like the adaptation. I would say early on, you could play a little more risky. And you could try to, between sword swings, as long as the boss is not about to use the light attack, you can sneak in and get an easy Zalor on the boss again. But that comes with experience. You're like, okay, how can I get close to make sure I don't get bodied? And then what can happen is if you play with a lot of rangers versus a lot of hunters, they can help try to shoot the... I really feel bad, I should know their names. The boss mags. You can have them shoot the boss mags to reduce the light damage, because if the other player at least backs up, if they happen to get clipped by the... Gale and Jill, thank you. So if they happen to get clipped by the light attack, as long as it's not overlapping and they have over 210 health, they should actually live that and be able to die mate it. So just making sure you have like a good balance of HP is really good, but also recognize that there's going to be one player that should basically never play close ever. Like, your party will have it. It'll be like, do you have a ranger? They should not get HP material. They should get the bare minimum to survive phase 1 and not a drop more. You gotta ration it. Giving extra HP material, like if the Huecast has like 280 plus, which is possible, but that's a little luck based. It's more realistic to see them around 240 or 260. They are very, very likely to survive the boss. It's kind of nice. Yeah, that's kind of the feel bad of the boss itself. Come on, demons. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and debuff with this. So yeah, it's definitely a very brutal quest, and most of it comes with the boss. So what I would recommend if you want to just learn it real quick, just do like a RT or a seabed, however you want to reach the boss the quickest. Pay attention to what the visual looks like for the sword swing, and then recognize the boss can't do the light attack unless a certain damage threshold is passed. So you could technically math it out and determine whether or not it can do the light attack. If you want to practice dodging it, you get one attempt. Otherwise, you have to damage the boss in between. But I do think it's very necessary so you can see the visual tell of the jump attack. The jump attack is the opportunity for every player to go in and melee. You could get like 6 to 8 hits if you're really close. If you have a gun, you can easily get another 3 on top of that. And that is a massive time save. Knowing when the jump attack is coming is huge. The other thing that you could kind of learn is just observing how the boss walks. So that way you're close to the boss until it stops moving, but not in a way that it's going to hit you as it walks. That requires a bit of practice, since it walks in kind of a weird angle and it likes to do really sharp turns. Just kind of let the boss walk at you for a bit and realize, like, okay, if I'm here, where will it inevitably end up if it's facing south? How far will it walk? Where is its back foot going to go? Because, like, what can happen is, initially, rangers can actually, they want to target the front foot and run away. The hunters want to be near the back foot because that's where they do the strat. So the positioning will change on where you need to be. As a force, you're a bit more flexible. If you're with the rangers, you'll end up running with them from the front foot and be out of range of most attacks, which is kind of nice. But just be aware that no matter what foot you are close to, you never want to be directly in front of the boss. Oh, I got bodied. Good me. I died on the mission complete. Mission complete, streamer dead. All right. But yeah, just being able to just not get stepped on by the boss saves a little bit of time. So, like, for example, for early shots on the first phase, I distinctly remember staying to the right of the boss, which is weird because its foot is going to go back to the left. But if you have a gun, you can... Oh, Shadow Laser 40 hit. That's unfortunate. But if you stay on the right side of its foot and then, like, just go to the outside of the arena there, it's very safe. Its sword attack only goes in, like, a cone, so you're already more to the side of the foot to begin with. But then on top of that, if you're a ranger, you get like 6 to 8 shots without needing to move at all if you're on the right side and the outside. That makes kind of a massive difference with safety. So again, it's just kind of figuring out a balance of what are my safety strats versus like where do I find gaps in the boss. So just be aware that you can let it do the sword swing with the beam attack, and that's your opportunity to debuff. As a force, you're really not going to be doing that much damage to the boss. I would say, like, you're going to spend more time using Resta, Shifta, Delore, and then maybe if you're lucky, you get an opportunity to Gafoi to damage the mags. If you do manage to kill the mags, if you like, let's say you have a party of 2 rangers, a force, and a Hewcast, right? I don't know what your party comp is, but let's assume that. Those 2 rangers can really pick off all of those mags, and that makes the hunter not likely to die at all unless they get frozen by a spinner. And again, the ranger can shoot those spinners and help the Hewcast survive getting janked out like that. There's like a lot of little strats you can do. And it's definitely a lot to take in, and I feel bad for people that go into that blind. As I knew that fight would be terrible, and we still took multiple tries just to get through. We're like, man, there's so much that can go wrong with like the spinner spawns. It's so brutal. So sadly, chat, I didn't really get anything other than coal, but extra PD is nice, I guess. Let me switch into Rappy Mag so I have more TP. Let's do that quest again. There we go. We're holding full-fledged conversations while doing December Disaster and Slash the Tower quest. There you go. There's the comfort level. I'm like, yeah, I got this. It's all good. Let's see. I don't need anything in here. Off chance, are there any charged Vulcans? One thing I'm not sure is what level you start to see charged Vulcans in the shop. I know by 180 I saw it, but I don't know if it appears lower. I've definitely seen a bit more on Purple ID. But that could be more anecdotal than statistical. So we'll do probably at least one of these, and then we'll go into probably some TTF or something, red ID. I gotta go close to 1-ish, like a little after 1, so we got some time. But yeah, learning that you can group your characters. As I said before, I think that was like legitimately a 15-minute time save. So if you have any worries at all of hitting target time, trust me, learning that by itself is good enough. Then from there, take all the safety strats you want for Olga Flow, and then you're good to go. Yeah, you'll definitely be shocked at how easy tower is. You'll be like, why did they make seabeds so bad? Why is it so long? Why did they do this? And they've just started us at a higher level. Like, nope. You're there to suffer. Sadly, no Saint Rappy so far. Rip Rappy. I was gonna say, don't make me bonk you, Rappy. We'll delete you. Yeah, as I said before, whatever the target time for tower, you can easily, like, outside of learning, like, the initial gimmick of, like, oh, we're gonna level rapidly, so we just need to time our level up a little bit. Outside of that learning curve, it's gonna be, like, 20, 22 minutes. I don't care what the target time says. It was not even remotely close to an inexperienced party, having only done it literally half a time before, and we just completed it after that, and we're like, oh, there's not even, like, a big fight at the end. There's like a singular mini boss between you and the end of the area. I'm like, oh, that's it. So if you could get past, I think it's like floor 9. You basically go up 10 floors, go down 10 floors. When you get past the halfway point, the rest of it is ultra easy. The initial part might get you with some of the gimmicks, but once you know them, then it's not that bad. Your final enemy is the wall in the Epsilon room. Oh, true. True. Yeah, if you know how to kite Epsilon, then you don't have any worries about it. It was funny watching nearly everybody die to the Epsilon at the end due to the walls. So stupid. We went through that entire area, no deaths, and then that was like the scape doll grinder. Just went all the dead players. It's kind of shocking how playable Challenge Mode Episode 2 Tower was, and then you think, why did they make Ultimate like this? Why is it so unplayable for Forces? It's like actually decent. I was like, wait, am I having fun as a Force in Tower? This should be illegal. After playing so much Ultimate, I'm like, wait, I actually kill things? Weird. What is this weird feeling of DPS? This doesn't seem right. Wait a minute. You're like, wait a minute, I hard bully Ilgil? Oh. Not even close? Okay. Poor Ilgil. Rest in peace, Ilgil. Get murdered by Force in challenge mode. So yeah, Seabed is definitely the hardest. I would say Tower, arguably the easiest. Other than maybe Temple. Somebody's thinking of us having a bad day. They're like, oh, listen, we want to encourage you to play every class. And they're like, let me just adjust these resistances real quick. You can kill an 80 fire resist, 70 light resist, 4,000 health mini boss, right? That shoots constant insta kill. That's something a Force can do by themselves, right? I want to check with you. Just, like, that makes sense, right? The only thing they were merciful about was Meagid. And then they released V502 and then made Forces, again, the worst. So too. So sad. So close, yet so far. A random mag dropped. Beam? I guess I'll pick it up. Sounds like a custom color. Sure. I'll just nod my head on that one. Yeah, we know from, like, we were comparing this area to, like, stadium bleachers. So we know when the Gaiguis appear, one of us has to be at the top of the bleachers. They're on the lookout for the home run bat. We're like, hold on, we gotta see the home run from up here. We're just gonna stay up here, let the team kill that. And that poor Miracle's about to get bodied. Rest in peace, Miracle. And we know roughly in the middle where I'm standing is gonna be the next Murder Flower. So, like, I kind of enjoyed learning this quest. I feel like it definitely rewards you for positioning, but it's also not, like, super hard. Like, it introduces a lot of Murder Flowers, so it's not like there aren't hard enemies in there, and there are Ilgils. Like, they're mostly manageable. And now I know until I see Hildelts in the middle, I could be wherever I want positionally, it doesn't matter. I don't have a preference for the rest of the room. Nope. Keeps alluring them with Glide Divine. We're pretty ATP heavy. Nope, still don't need to move or care. So I think we've learned a little bit, at least, from brutal, unforgiving experience. Alright, now I need to be over to the side. Fortunately, I missed Chris with buffs because he's still way up there. It is what it is. Hopefully he'll be fine. Yeah, that's a I gotta run to him amount of walking. There we go. Reapply buffs as we go. Victor axes. Yeah. Temple wasn't too bad. I would say the one that took like the one that made me like anxious was CCA. I don't know about you, I had no fun in that quest as a force. I was like, oh boy, hopefully I get a AoE spell so I could do damage, right? It never came. It's like, well, I guess I'm only using basic text for the entirety of jungle. That really sucks as a character like Fonuman who has no bonuses. That's where I was like, man, I wish I was the Fodu role. This area sucks as Fonuman. And then it was like, we would go to reattempt it due to deaths on like Galgrithan, for example. And it's like, oh, now I get Gafoe in like the first 2 boxes of the room. I'm like, okay. Feels terrible to play Fonuman. No techniques, reset immediately. So sad. So yeah, we're replaying as Fonuman Fonu role. Honestly, I could see, like, Seabed was definitely very easy with Fonuman. Comparatively, like, his extra health and his ability to boost Gafoe was actually relevant start to finish, and was, like, the only quest I seemed to really get multiple AoE techniques. Whereas, like, everything else, I would have rather had simple text. Even Tower, I would have preferred simple text. Like, man, Fonuman shines real good in Seabed, and then just terrible everywhere else, because you just can't get the guaranteed AoE. It's kind of weird that they just don't start you with those AoEs, even if it's just like level 1. This is like, man, what if I just need to hit multiple E's? What do I do? Am I really gonna Barda everything with Fonuman? Feels bad. So sad. Yeah, and then funny enough, I was like worried that I would die in Temple with Fonural. Please line up so I can hit you, exactly. I was worried I would die in Temple as Fonural, because I'm like, man, there's so many things that could just randomly hit me and kill me, like the boss hits. And then, like, we went to go play it once, and I ended up with more HP than the Hugh cast, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. PSO, you gotta be kidding me. How is this even possible? I'm like, did I really just pick up like 3 sets of HP materials in a row? Really? Like, well, I guess we're beating Temple. Right, chat? That's a, oh, you're gonna win today. Like, okay. Thanks, I guess. So I should move towards the back of the room to set up for a future wave. Horse has got to be thinking ahead. Unfortunately, because I wasn't thinking fast enough, I didn't get through cleanly. There we go. We gotta be here for the Barans. Nicely done. Make sure we use the lore. Get out in the middle, because I don't want to be surrounded by Marillas and then Gibbles, effectively. Oh, somebody has hell? No. There's a Rebardi here to slow them down. I think, unfortunately, multiple people went to one side. It's fine, though. Let's heal through. Okay, so I know the next wave will be over here-ish, so I'm going to start walking over here. Deal with the brands first, of course, though. Yeah, the pan arms is my signal that the next enemy will be, like, about here. I'm just going to wait it out. Slow him down significantly. Ooh, so good. I'm going to stand about here so the Del Sabers don't jump me, but I can slow them with Rebarda. There we go, beautiful. Tell them to get out of here. Silly enemies. Yeah, Fonu roll, it was like night and day when I did Temple. I was like, man, this is what she got to enjoy in Temple. At one point, she was just one-shotting lilies. And I was like, man, oh man, if you saw how bad it was with Fonuman. Woo! It's like, man, I did 3 Bardas and the thing weak to ice didn't die. Oh boy. Then I play her and I'm like, oh, I just one button to Lily. Oh. I guess that MST on level up plus Barda level makes a difference. Like, oh. Yeah, I think the worst she had was double hitting the kill, which again is amazing. You're just kind of like, whatever. Like, oh no, I cast 2 spells and the enemy died. What a shame. There we go. I'm gonna use Miga just for you, chat. There we go. Time saved. You know what? I'll pick up a 25 hit Victor X. Somebody's gonna leave that. I'll go pick it up. I don't know if it's worth anything. It's just amusing to say that I have it. I don't care if I'm slightly out of position for the murder flower near the red door. I'm gonna go pick that up. Nice present. I'm gonna say Chris finally getting all the presents. For a while he was pretty present dry, but I think in the session so far he's gotten like what, 8 or 9? Quite a lot. HP material. Oh, for today? Oh, might even think of ertamperometer a bit then. No worries, Section Skyly. Always welcome to come back. You can always talk PSO. I hope you have a good day, and hope PSO goes smoothly. Out here, Barans. Get rid of you. No more Barans. One PD. Oh, okay. Oh, I almost walked into the Gibbles. I was like, ooh, what's that? Like, no. I don't want to deal with Gibbles. It's gonna be Barans behind us. This is probably the most mean spawn, because people might not be expecting the behind. And then it'll be Ilgil in the middle. Which keeps reminding me of Malcolm in the middle every time I say it, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so Ilgil in the middle. Nicely done, team. Yeah, that was like a frame 1 freeze. Get out of here. Thank you, Roberta. Yi dropped a present? Really? Well, it's a different color present. Maybe it's good luck. Type S J Sword. Okay. Damn, that freeze was sick. I'm assuming that was a freeze trap and not me. Damn, I hit them real quick. Alright, let's switch mags so I have the one that has accuracy. I think this is the only quest in the game I've ever mag swapped. Like mid-run. Usually you just stick with a mag all the way through, but this is one of those quests where I'm like, yeah. Until I'm like level 180, need to mag swap. Because being able to occasionally Bringer's Rifle is more important to me than the MST. War Demons fails me. Thanks, Demons. I tried. I'm not gonna lie, I play so far forward, I forgot there were sorcerers in that wave. To be real with you. I'm used to just being like right here. Wow, I got PD'd by Ilgil. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, what a troll. Ridiculous. Okay, my Gafoe slowed down the miracle at least. What a troll. I can't say I'm surprised, but I can say I'm disappointed. It's like, oh well, it is what it is, I guess. Ill-willed of Ilgil, indeed. Brutal. It's kind of like getting PD'd from Del Lily, because Del Lily, as a reminder, is Cycle Wand. Yeah, speaking of Rofoi crowd controlling a whole room. Boink. 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 What can they do? Nothing. Oh my gosh, demons actually worked? I wasn't ready for that? Wait, my demons worked? I'd like to not be there. There's a Del Beater in this wave, right? Oh, next wave, next wave. Well, let's take the Gafoi slowing them down, don't get me wrong. So last time I forgot to Gafoi here. This should stop it. There we go. I'm somewhere in the cluster of Del Beater. I can't move. But I did demon it, apparently. That works. Oh, damn, I got him with that Rabarda. Get wrecked, fool. Oh, boy. Leave me alone. No, leave me alone. I want to deal with you. I'll rebuild the team while I'm here, though. Time to walk forward. Like the most sad tragedy music as we go through tower. I mean, to be fair, it does feel like that sometimes. Like, where did our life go wrong that we're doing tower? Let's reflect on how we arrived at this this place. That was a good frozen shooter shot. Right in the middle, GG. Remember, Gafoi isn't 100% needed here, but it does slow them down significantly after this. Let me do some stacks to maybe slow down the Barans. Gonna work. Oops, Gafoi there. Except Megan would hit. He could let me down, chat. Oh no! Got attack reset, that was scary. Oh my gosh, I double Megated? The time save? Megan decides to work too? Oh, that's like 6 seconds saved. Worry about that red guy or the green guy. Damn, that Baran's launcher putting in the work, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely thinking of a minimum getting a Machine Dark, which I can definitely afford. Maybe when we go to play later. Oh, you have Dark and A-Beast on that one? That's what I was wondering about. So in Parameter, I was thinking, like, I obviously want Machine at some point. So because of episode 2, you prefer Machine group with something else if you do episode 1? I'm just curious how many launchers you have. Because I was thinking about that too, if I wanted something that was more geared towards episode 2. Given that that is, like, the big issue with damage and not actually episode 1. Oh, you just have this one? Okay. Because I'm, like, really torn as to what to combine with the Dark. Like, I want Machine, but it's, like, it's good for Seabed, but then it's, like, do I want one for Temple, where I'm more likely to do the runs? Just giving it when I sold the 90 caliber, damn. Yeah, I just lured them, but I can't do much else. I'm getting hit by Indy Belrus. Well, Disco's drop, but sadly no good stats. Let's try Del Beater. I remembered you were here. Hit Demon. Making sure everybody's in sync. Having somebody off by like 30 seconds is like maddening. The timing. Go back for that HP material. Hello, Lone Miracle. We meet again. I'm assuming by the lack of people running forward, we don't need to die. Oh, you can actually grants them out of range? I didn't know you could do that. Huh. I guess if you're high enough level grants, it reaches. I didn't think it normally did. Leave me alone, Gibbles. Oh, don't you swing at me. No. Dad, leave me alone. Like, go away, Mr. Gibbles. Yeah, I think I have enough time for 2 TTFs on Red ID. I got stuff to do. Hopefully chat's been having fun. Always nice to get... This quest giving 8 coal is kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I already think the quest is pretty good, but man, on top of that, just 8? What a joy. Suck a couple of ways to slow these things down a little. It wasn't the spell I wanted, but I'll take it. Oh boy. I don't want to see that Ilgil do anything. Leave me alone. I should stun them a little bit. Perfect. Back for a mine material, then I should... Yeah, it's kind of weird that there's multiple enemies in this game that are impacted by attributes. I still think the weirdest one is Slime not being affected by it. Like the almighty episode 1 Slime. Just like, nope. Don't care about your weapon attributes. It's like, oh, did you want to do extra elemental damage too? Well, I ignore that too. So if you ever feel like you're doing less damage against slimes, the answer is you are. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. It was like, please don't punch me to death. Let's try Del Beater. It's okay, you can run me over if you want. I did hit you with like a Bowie. I deserve it. Their photon drop. Okay, so I need to make a photon horde at some point. Yeah, this is really good. That is a lot of photon drops. Basically, I can afford the 2 challenge mode weapons I can make already, just from the PDs in my share bag. That's good. It'll be nice to have more guns. I'll think about if I want to do another challenge mode run just for Zalor guns. You. I think it's kind of worth it. I do enough runs with my Ramar. And obviously, if I can debuff his Humar and actually make him useful, I would be more likely to play him if I had access to that stuff. I'm just debuffing right away because I feel like I'm about to get bodied. Oh. Oh, Megid. That was the worst time to fail me. Come on. Nope. beat, apparently. Nice kill. Ouch. Alright, I got one demon proc on him. Did it. Like how he just like suction cups on a player when he's close enough. Human mechs are saying hello to this Epsilon. Well, I was gonna say, I see a Gear Assault being used. It'd be funny if it was one from the other day. Debuff time for sure. Need to make sure that I'm able to reach the team with debuffs. I'll stay somewhat in the middle here. Humans, please. Ouch. Hello, other Frigil. Welcome to my face, other Ilgo. But I don't like how this will work. There we go. I did proc a demon. So I did something. Only another demon could proc. There we go. Yeah, it was a pretty good run. Sadly, no V502s, but it is what it is. I'm absolutely picking up that power material. Some extra coal. Shit, it's still brute work. It's my dye fluids. Yeah, this character has a single adapt, and I think it's good enough. I mean, ideally I'll have two, so I use less fluids. But yeah, Rip Masetta indeed. A lot of Baran's launchering. Damn, I picked up so many items. I do. Somebody's gonna have to hold some of these at some point. All these, it's all these random berserk, more berserk type guns in here. Move some of them to another character. Not today. Oh, I forgot to move the berserk arm on one of my rangers. Oops. I want to put that on my Rockhouse because he does a lot of endless. Although it could arguably go on my pink ID character as well, since she'll end up doing endless. It feels good to not have to really change his equipment at all. He can just permanently have my Bringer's Rifle, because he's the only force I reasonably always switch into it. The others, it's more situational. Anyway, let's end with, say, 2 runs. Perfect. What was max attack MA4 tickets again? You mean to cash them in? It's To the Deepest Blue MA4 venue. It's the longest shop title quest, and it has hyphens. It's very easy to remember because there's MA4 in the title, but also it's just the longest one. Oh, the cap? 255. Anything after that doesn't count towards it. Yeah, I think post-event, I'll cash them in. Be like, here's all the MA4 stuff, just so team can witness it. Ooh, yeah, 243 is pretty close. They're on the hill delts, so once we kill the Talos, we'll move on. Yeah, I think from like a speed perspective, I think somebody... I don't mind 2 people going to hill delt, but I think we need help on the first wave clear from the third person. Otherwise it leads to like a big gap like that. I got arrested by Chris. Well, at least I'll survive Dragon. Might as well just charge forward and gun blazing it. There we go. The Striker Mag strikes again. Goodbye, my HP. Yeah, let's go for the glitch. Ooh, almost got it. Only got it a little bit. There we go. I have no idea where I am. Oh, there we are. Oh, I actually timed that correctly that time to open box this. Too bad I was slightly off on my aim, but here we go. Dan asking, what is the glitch? If you stack enough damage when it's transitioning between phase 1 and phase 2, you'll notice that its health bar took a dip of damage. So we didn't get the full glitch, we got a partial glitch. Instead of the boss having the set 4,200 or whatever, it potentially can start phase 2 with literally 0 HP, and it dies instantly. It saves a little bit of time. There's no reason to not go for it. It's much easier to do with multiple Cannon Rouges and Dark Flow. But the trick is like doing it so that it still hits the boss, but doesn't hit it too early. You'll know you do it too... You'll know if you do it too late because your strikes just won't even hit the boss at all. But if you time it so that it roars as it's taking damage, then it's very likely it won't roll over the HP correctly. You could kind of confuse it by just, or at least cover more frames by stacking Cannon Rouges and Dark Flows. You could technically do it without any stacking. So if you're playing solo, if you time a really good Gazan, for example, because it hits multiple parts, it's multiple chances for you to do extra damage on phase 2. Which is kind of nice. Well, welcome, Ginger Dan. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so I did the little slime dupe by attacking 3 times using fire traps. That way we could get more chances of rare slime. We're gonna go to, well, I have invincibility, but like I say, I'm gonna stand on the side of the raft that doesn't take any damage from the lasers. I just hold forward, always dodge. At least it's player 1. Other players gotta move a bit more. Say goodbye to my money. It's going for a good cause. Rest in peace, 20k. You served your duty. I think with our current team, it might be better for us to freeze trap versus confused trap. Okay, try that again. Should walk this way actually. Lock on for the final combo. That's so sad. Okay. So we're checking these for heart of items. They're killing cannabins for present checks. We'll meet up in the main room. Hopefully I can show off the confused trap strat. It's really easy to kill these Sinnohs with just traps. I don't even really need to interact with them very much. We can't show off the timing of the freeze trap, but basically when the when the red Sinnoh spawns, if you wait for its leg to be visible, and then you put a freeze trap, you never have to trap shoot it, and you can just gun the Sinnoh dead. Not much I could do. We're seeing the aftermath of confused traps here, where they basically just all massacre each other, which is amazing, by the way. Let's see if we can do it. I'm gonna run through here. Perfect. And we just killed 2 Sinnohs without ever firing a shot. That makes sense. Unfortunately, one of the Sinnohs went out of bounds. And then it died, I guess. Interesting. Fine, you can hit me if you want. That's more Sinnohs dead. Just an easy clear. Thanks, Confused Traps, you're the best. If I position a little better, I don't even have to get hit by the Sinnoh Blues. See, that team's going back for an item. We got them something. The team should probably put down a telepipe so Chris can catch up. There we go. Yeah, perfect. So Chris will take the green. Yeah, green. I don't know why that green looks yellow to me. I did like a double take on that. Here we go. Rewarded for the extra checks. Yeah, we were discussing this boss earlier. The fact that this thing only cares about ATP, and even if you use techs on it, it still checks your ATP for boss damage is so silly. I really wonder how they coded this boss, to be real with you. This is the only enemy in the game where ATP matters on a forest. It's so weird. Poor Foe New World trying to deal with this boss without Red Saber is a nightmare. Just like these Gafoes are doing more damage than Spread Needle is to the boss. Doesn't make any sense. Next area. Oh, sadly I'm not near the one that's targetable. Yeah, we'll slow it down a little with some Twin Blaze. Let them get a good time for it. Nice. I'm gonna say, the dramatic music at one of the easiest bosses. As long as I don't get baby caged, I should be able to just normal heavy special. The boss should almost be dead by then. Speaking of which... Goodbye. What a boss. I'll take the Dame. Did I restock healing? Kind of. Ooh, I got stuck on a claw. That almost went poorly for me. It's always scary not being first in the room. Yeah, we do these extra claw kills, not because we care about the claw drops. I mean, they can drop weapons more often than not, so technically it's always worth doing on Sky ID. But it's more just to kill the Arlens on Red ID. Oh, no Disco Zabray Man for them. So sad. Alright, so somebody was taking the quest seriously. They went up there. That's good. At least we can pick off these things. And then that should set us up for a nasty freeze trap into Disca if we want to. Beautiful. What an easy clear, and we'll let the other player kill the other Arlens for Disca chances. I'm gonna go further away from the party, since I'm gonna be low HP pretty much the whole time. Ideally, I shouldn't have to heal here, but we'll see what happens. Safety freeze trap. Safety freeze trap. Getting lyricked. Lyrics, no, not right now. I can't switch you. I'm at a point where I need to be in a certain position that requires running. Nothing charged at me, so that's good. Sadly, still no spread needle. Lyrics, please. I still have too much health. I gotta drain some. Oh, Chris, okay? Hopefully he didn't crash. Otherwise, we were in for a very rough time on this boss. Oh, there he goes. I'm gonna hold backwards to dodge the striker mag. There we go, I dodged it. Rip our clear time. It was like 20 seconds of nothing. Oh well, it is what it is. Ah, yes, the peaceful town music is we go with the spinners. And don't mind me, I could just die at any second from anything here. They're all cleared. That was almost bad. Pull a couple of these. Try to make ourselves a little bit useful. Hard to kind of outzone the Heaven Strikers, so I expect most of the Heaven Strikers to... Ooh, good shot here. A little more inside. I am not going for the far one because I'm a hunter. I need to stay near the front. I'm gonna wait for it to transition. There we go. Alright, so I kept it under 140 health, so I should be able to Dark Flow. Not my cleanest movement through there, but we'll take it. Also, damn, I'm more dead center than I thought. Kind of annoying. Oh well. It is what it is. Perish Dark Falls. Wow, it is not once so far in like 6 attempts ever gone towards me. This is so sad. I think if I go far right, it won't hit me. I walked it right into it. That sucks. It's one of those ones where like you just have to kind of guess who it's centered on. In single player, that would have worked. Sadly, it did not work there. Like, for example, if you're on the left side and you go up or right, you will dodge it more often than not. Just like going straight backwards will often also dodge it. But if it's not centered on you and it's centered on somebody else, then who knows? Just spin the dice. Spin the wheel. See what comes out. Maybe you'll end up on top. It's worth a shot. Yeah, slap me in the face, falls, whatever. Ooh, what a clean cycle. Didn't even matter if it short cycled us. GG. Out of here, boss.
Dead already?
The power of oops all casts and Ramarl is good enough. Looks like the robots are partying in the corner. I'm just kind of turning my back to them. Bullatina impressed by the dancing robot. Ooh, 14 minutes. Oh, wait, it went to 14 minutes and rolled back to 13:59. Did you see that? The timer's like, oh, wait. No, you got sub 14. Here you go. Poor timer. Okay, I got enough time for one more. I don't need a skip doll, so I'm gonna drop a skip doll for the team. 162 kills, that's pretty good. Full clear is 200. We don't bother full clearing unless fan arms is actually worth something. But red ID gets so much value on like every kill here, it's kind of bonkers. Like every forest enemy is value, which is kind of awkward because normally you don't ever want to do red ID forest, but in TTF, you're like, oh, is every enemy in the first room an item that goes for PDs? Like more than one PD? Okay. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. See, there we go, chat. We know we're in episode 1 by the sky. Selected the right episode this time. Yeah, even Caves has a decent amount of value, although to be fair, we also skip those pan arms. Those pan arms just take way too long to spawn. We got other things to do. Mines with all the guild chicks is always good for the heart ofs. There we go, and Parameter leveling up more ults. Definitely strong enough to hold his own. Oh, I didn't realize Chris and I were actually the same level. Look at that. We did it. The millions and millions of times I have switched who I have been. Managed to line up. Alright, so help clear with this room, and then whoever wants to go to the next can do whatever. Yeah, we just need one person to stay. There we go, that's good enough. Yeah, as otherwise we gotta wait for them to bunch up, which does lose a lot of time. Killing that other wave quickly helps a lot. Yeah, see, now they're at the holdouts as we're spawning the Talos. That's a much better timing. Oops. Okay. Much better. Yeah, see that? We were 6 seconds faster here. Although we gotta wait for Chris. Whoever just went back. Well, we were faster. Because last time when I took that warp, it was like a minute 1. That time, because we split the duties, it was 54 seconds. So it does make a difference. Getting that assistance on the first wave, as long as one player goes forward, makes a big difference. I guess I could have Disca to speed it up a little more too. I mean, I could have spent money to Jaya Swing to save even more time, but obviously I don't want to do that on every wave. Prefer to keep some money. Yeah, I still have enough for the boss. Just the important thing for later. Let's go for the glitch. See if we can get it. Wait for it to sync up. Now, here. Too early. So close. I must have only missed like a few frames. Because it still hit the boss, but the HP bar didn't flicker. So I gotta wait a little longer next time. A lot of escape dolls I don't care about. So sad. I also find it much easier with 2 dark flows, because the dark flow waves last forever. That's a little easier to cover every possible frame on that boss. Let's move over here. I'm gonna slime dupe. We shot 3 times, so this will dupe the slime. We'll put a fire trap here where it spawned to kill it. We're gonna count 1, 2, 3, put a freeze trap, and I'm about to Disco Brave Man this thing out of existence. Bye. Sadly, one of my discos missed because I got a little too close. Or actually, my freeze trap went off a little too early. Maybe I should count to 2. I want them to be like slightly, because they go upright, but they also flick their head slightly forward when they get activated, I guess the best way to put it. And when they become activated, their heads are really close together, which makes it easier for Disca to jump. Otherwise, what'll happen, the Disca will go up. So I was missing, I think, 3 hits from the Disca, which makes sense because I saw an enemy not take any damage. Which means that it only hit one of the lilies twice, instead of hitting the lily twice and moving to the next one. So, that's okay. Gonna do a little fire trap movement here. Move the items a little closer to the warp in case team needs it. Ooh, team was pretty quick there. I wasn't expecting that. I'll pipe down. Diet time. I don't know if I'll bother healing. Wow. Never punished. Just like, I was like, do I feel like healing? No. It'll cause it to target me. It's fine. You can do whatever it wants here. Good party members. Yeah, if you berserk under my health total, though, I can't make any promises for you. Rip. Oh, whoops. I thought I was holding back. Yeah, you can hold down and right during the cutscene to go to the back of the raft. How does the hit point work on the boss? Asked Ginger Fan. That's a great question. So basically, there are individual health points for every single one of its little plates, right? And then it has a big health bar on the faceplate. Faceplate is the most annoying thing to kill, but it's the easiest thing to hit for beginner players. We bully the body portions until those plates break. Then every time the boss is damaged, instead of it damaging the plate, it damages the boss's real health total. So it doesn't help to spread the damage as much. You'll see a lot of the teams focus fire it, with the intent being that it doesn't matter what plates are broken as long as they're broken. It's generally easier to stand on the edge of the raft like we were there, just because Excalibur hits 3, Jaya hits 5, and Arush hits way more. But if we focus fire all the efforts on one general spot, it just deletes the boss. For low-level gameplay, it's like, we're talking like normal to like very hard. The boss doesn't have as clean of a pattern. I actually found the boss so much easier in Ultimate, which is Sonic, because Ultimate is generally supposed to be harder. But because the boss always beaches early, and the boss has a very clear spot you can stand to dodge the laser, it just means that we're always going to hit like those same 3 to 4 spikes every time. I feel bad for that boss. Let's see if we can get the hit list here. Gotta put it down, then I gotta run immediately, I think. Yeah, that should work. You're not supposed to hit me through there. Excuse me. Excuse me, I was in the hidden corridor. You should be able to punch me here. How rude. I got cheated, chat. In which case, just get frozen. The jerk. They're not normally supposed to be able to punch you when you're in the doorway like that. Like, I was like right there with the equivalency thereof. How annoying. I'm just gonna confuse trap and walk away. You guys are being jerks today. Yeah, goodbye their health totals. That's what you get. It was almost worth taking a telepipe. Almost. Yeah, this boss's health total also doesn't make any sense. I think this is probably the most jank boss in all of PSO. I'm willing to declare it. Even though episode 2 Worm Boss teleports for no reason sometimes, this boss is like the definition of jank. It could get so desynced for other players that it just like teleports what monitor it's on. It just can refuse to spawn. It can move while the turrets are up. This boss is so susceptible to desync. It's kind of insane. We're just like keeping our fingers crossed it keeps relatively sane for all the players who can actually play the game. Yes, every one of my fireballs is hitting the true health of the boss, and the way it calculates the damage taken is every time you hit a monitor, it checks your... Okay, team needs to really hit the turrets, please. I shouldn't still be getting hit right now. But anyway, from the standpoint of that boss's health total, it'll check every time it gets damaged by like our fireball and apply ATP. So like AoE attacks will do a lot of damage to that boss. So you'll see people use Spread Needle to stun lock it with normals and apply the ATP of the Spread Needle to it. But you'll also see people with Excaliburs or Gallatines, aka like really strong swords that are used by forces, and they'll just Gazanda to death. And the reason why they hold that Excalibur at Galatine is they're just looking to boost the ATP of the person hitting the screen. There we go. It's probably okay. Oops. I missed my shot. I can safety dive in. False tricks so we don't target. Up here, target the back. It's so convenient. There's still 10 freeze traps left over. I could go crazy here if I want to. I probably will. Wow. I mean, that clear speed of Disco Brave, man, is just absolutely bonkers. It's just funny to me in PSO that a weapon you could get as early as, like, hard mode is more useful than, like, 3/4 of the weapons in the game. Like, oh, what a weapon. That's why I'm not entirely convinced they thought through any kind of design philosophy while making this game. Like, yeah... Oh, the Sorcerer actually got free. Unfortunate. One day, Chad, we will see the spread needle to give to team members. Oh well. It is what it is there. Getting too much health. Got a zigzag so I don't gain health. There we go. Yeah, if I go above 140, I can't use Dark Flow. It's very annoying, because I can do 150 myself. Dealing like 50, just 50, is kind of hard. I gotta be careful how many times I stop to shoot here. Also not walk into a spinner. Say intense concentration for a second. Sorry about the no speaking. Like, hold on. Teammate died. I gotta look at the minimap. Figure out where I want to go with this character. Oh, that was almost really bad. There we go. Okay, we managed not to bonk into a spinner. And I'm in a better position this time for the head. That way I can just immediately do this. Tried swapping weapons. Did you see how close that was? It lit up when I selected it, but I was like just a frame or two shy swapping into it for this. I guess I was almost close enough. Oh, this time you go towards me? Whatever. Oh, what a tease. I was like, man, am I finally gonna be able to dark flow this boss on this phase? And I was like, nah, gotcha. So rude. Stop it. Alright, well now I need to die mate and go hard over to the side or I'll die. Over here. Okay, at least this is a guaranteed phase. Rude. Wow. I was gonna say our ATP's high enough, even on with shift to 20, it still doesn't get to do anything there. That's so good. That was a good fight. 5 out of 6 berserk shots landed. I was gonna say the damage seems so high. Wow, 1332 with additional kills. Reminder, when we were comparing to like Lab Out, it's just like a baseline. Like me playing Ramar with Excalibur and V801 and all those other things. That was like an 11-minute, 30-second clear. For 2 extra minutes, we get over 120 extra kills. I mean, as long as we're doing that every second added is an extra kill, I'm kind of okay with that during events. Because it's like, one, at least 40 to 50 of those checks are genuine items. You know, spread needles, Art of, to some extent Red Saber and Red Handgun. Manny Disca checks. So a lot of those could have value, but man oh man, that was clean. I'm gonna restock before I forget to do that. That'll be my last run, sadly. As a reminder, there won't be a stream on Tuesday. I have a lot coming up. My Tuesday and Wednesdays are completely full. But we'll do a bonus stream on Friday. And we'll also play Thursday as usual. I'll leave Escape Doll behind. Rip Escape Doll. Here we go. Give me that Escape Doll. This team needs it. I'll leave it behind. Okay, so how do we feel the session went overall? Well, there's no D502s. But other than that, we saw Lambda Argent draw. Team got a pretty high number of presents compared to even yesterday, which is pretty good. PDs were pretty solid, I think, for most people. We didn't get too many rares, but it is what it is. Anyway, chat, I do have to go, so we're going to say goodbye to both the stream and YouTube. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you again next time.